dream. Yo yo buddy, what's good? Good you. Referring to goth, but I'm good. I get it.
Hello, hello. Good evening, morning, noon, night, whatever time it may be, depending on your time zone. How you boys doing today? We doing good? Oh yeah, I see y'all already said hello. So,
Hello,
hey,
hello, buddy.
something. Okay, welcome to another chill,
I'm doing
relaxing.
well.
Oh, good.
Hi, Goth.
Good. Hi. But yes, welcome to another chill, relaxing Saturday stream. Trying to grab on my. Oh, well,
I am the only mod for the stream.
hey, one mod's good enough. Don't worry about it. Ugh. Oh, it's a hot one. It's been so hot. We know we can tell summer is coming. Whew. Alrighty then. How about we get into these videos then? Starting with what does this one say? Oh, Monomania, Finding the Origins of Disturbing Internet Images 2. I think we saw the first one already, I think. So
But anyways, I finally saw Destination and holy moly, what an experience I had.
Oh, the new Final Destination? Oh, good. I hope it was a good experience.
About a month ago, I made a video where I found the origins to some obscure and disturbing images throughout the history of the internet. Like I mentioned in that video, this topic has been done quite a few times, but I decided that I wasn't done yet.
Damn,
and that
I
wanted
forgot
cover
to add
some more
final, but you
obscure
know what
images
I
that I
mean.
haven't really seen
Yeah,
covered yet.
I knew what you were referring
These
to.
images
Don't
are
worry.
from all time periods and all corners of the internet. Some of them used to scare me pretty bad as a kid, and maybe even used to scare you as well.
Oh!
If you've been on YouTube Shorts anytime in the last few months, then there's a good chance that you've seen one of these FNAF videos. These videos
Yeah.
are based off a now popular tweet from about a year ago by user PocoChocos on X, where they say, "So I'm playing the FNAF collection on PS4 and I got to the spring lock ending in FNAF 3, and then this shows up. It won't get off my screen no matter how
But
much I
yes,
try to turn my
Final
console
Destination,
off."
and oh, it definitely was a good experience, not like I'll be traumatized for a while, LMAO.
Well, yeah, we don't want to be traumatized, but I'm glad it was good. Makes me want to see it now. I think I know what the original image of this is. I think it's a dog, and then somebody just doctored it up. But yeah, I think it's been debunked. No, this isn't real. This doesn't actually show up in the game. It's a hoax.
Picture they attach to the tweet is pretty creepy, especially if the story is true. The fact that this face is just staring at you in the dark as you fail to turn off your TV is something ripped straight out of an early 2010s creepypasta story. What's even more creepy, plugging the image into a reverse image search like TinEye, we get no matches. However, if it sounds like a bad creepypasta, that's because it is.
Overall, great
The image
movie.
shown is not an asset that appears in
Good.
any of the FNAF games.
Do you think
Also,
we
the
will get a
ex-user
Argent
kinda
Half
shot themselves in
Halloween
the foot by
video?
claiming that this happens on the
We
PS4
probably
collection
will, yeah.
version of the games. No game on console can hardlock your console or force close your game. Something akin to the Golden Freddy jump scare force closing your game on PC. Stuff like that just isn't possible on console. Even
to
though
know.
it's just a fake post, it still didn't
The
matter.
Oak Freddy
Over the last few
games.
months, a ton of posts were made on YouTube and X of people reposting the tweet, and some people even making fake videos of the face appearing in-game.
I see Freddy on
Even
the
if the
roof.
creators of the post did know where the image
Yeah.
came from, they weren't saying anything. Probably because they didn't want to ruin the scare factor by saying what the actual image is. This made me kinda happy actually. It's good to see FNAF creepypastas and fake virus hoaxes still being created to this day. So if it isn't real, where did the image come from? Just doing a quick Google search, a lot of people on Reddit were arguing about the origins of the image. Some people were claiming that it's the same face from the indie horror game The Man in the Window, except
No.
maybe a more realistic rendering of the face. Others were claiming it was a photo of a husky with the contrast turned all the way up, something like the Smile Dog picture, which isn't a bad guess as the eyes do look like dog eyes. The entire head shape looks like it could be a dog as well.
I'm pretty sure
So
it
just
is
by
a dog
looking up
picture.
phrases like scary dog eyes images, I was actually able to find this Reddit post from a little over 4 years ago on r/oddly terrifying by user Nox Verde. Cute dog in back seat.
There it is.
This is for sure the origins of the face, although I'm not really sure if the
Pretty
original
much.
ex-user who made the FNAF creepypasta is the one who made the edit of the dog in this photo, as the FNAF face is clearly edited a bit. I
Yeah.
mean, not that you really
It
need to
looked
edit
like
it
the
much,
monkey
this dog
poster.
is horrifying looking on its own.
Yeah. Isn't he from,
Growing up on the early days
isn't that thing he just showed, isn't that a creature from, what was it, Terraria or something like that? It was one of those games.
of YouTube and the internet in general, it was super common to see these strange, grotesque, reoccurring images. While not inherently scary, being a kid late night scrolling on the family computer, coming across one of these was pretty frightening. Just like how we covered the Rat Girl image in the last video, I wanted to talk about another similar old image that was supposed to be funny, but used to
Gross.
freak me out as a kid. I also didn't want to just include inherently scary images in this video because that's just boring. This image, which was also popular as a GIF, used to creep me out so much growing up, and while researching this video, I learned I wasn't the only one. The image and GIF would appear scattered in a ton of different old game websites
Oh no, he's coming for me!
and a ton of different older YouTube videos. It was one of those weird images like the
okay.
ugly girl guy
We're
or
good.
the rat girl that would just randomly appear in the middle of a video that had nothing to do with it. One of the most popular instances I remember of seeing this green llama was in this Try Not to Laugh video from 12 years ago,
Woke, woke.
which has over 20 million views
You
now.
got an
The
animality.
video played normal funny clips from the time, but then at the end, the screen went black with text reading, "Good luck on this last one," before playing the gif of the green llama for about a minute straight, all while this distorted audio loop played in the background.
Oh my god.
Try not to laugh? Brother, I'm trying not to piss my pants right now. I know it may seem a little silly if you're a grown adult rewatching it now, but as like an 8-year-old watching that after seeing all the normal funny clips, it was pretty freaky. Like 1 second you're showing me the funny stormtrooper gif and everything's all laugh and giggles, and then you throw this creature in there with some Silent Hill ass music, like I'm gonna be scared of it. Before research
Yeah.
POV me during FD Bloodlines.
Yeah, the creepy, backtracking, yeah, is what would've got me.
searching for this video, I actually thought that I was the only one scared of this creature and that everyone else just thought it was funny. That was until I checked the comments on that Try Not to Laugh, and I realized several other people used to be terrified of this thing as well. I really think it's the teeth and blank, motionless expression on its face as it runs. I mean, that weird industrial sounding
I am
loop
on
from the Try Not to
standby
Laugh
for
did not
bad
help at all
messages
either.
for goth.
Also, this guy would just pop up everywhere. 1 second you're watching a funny flash animation, then boom, wiener-looking llama with teeth and beady eyes just staring at you in the void.
Wiener llama!
So where did this creature come from? Luckily, it didn't take very long to find that out. One of the YouTube comments from that popular Try Not to Laugh video called him a Bunchy, so I decided to
Bunchy?
look that up, and it brought me to the Know Your Meme page for Bunchy. Apparently this guy has been around since 2003 and was first posted to the Penny Arcade
Damn.
forums, where he really blew up from there. According to Know Your Meme, he was originally illustrated by designer Aaron St. Goddard, with the GIF animation being created by Royal van Maasbergen. Aaron has since actually had a pretty impressive career working on several different TV shows and movies,
Christmas
such as
hat.
Sausage Party, Tooth Fairy,
He's
and
festive.
we're not going to talk about that one. I think
Uh-oh.
it's very interesting that a lot of the really strange art from the early days of the internet that used to freak us out had creators that eventually got to work on really big budget projects that we didn't even know they were a part of.
I mentioned that I think it was Terraria or a game like that. I thought that's what it was because there's a creature in there that's similar to that, and he's pretty freaky. Oh, I don't like that.
Coming back to a more conventionally spooky image, there's always been one image that really stuck with me throughout the years, but I haven't seen it in years until recently. This image of a face in a dark room is pretty simple, but it used to terrify me when I was a kid.
Oh,
I
hell.
specifically remember seeing it in a few of those try not to get scared challenges, and I've seen it popularly associated with the don't look at Mandu creepypasta. I've also seen it loosely associated with other creepypasta stories, but a lot of the lesser known stories will just take a generic scary image and they'll use that instead of making an original image. So I don't think that this specifically originates from any creepypasta story. Also, I remember seeing this image way back in the early 2010s, and it wasn't used in these creepypasta stories until 2018 from what I could find. So if it doesn't come from any of these creepypasta stories, where does it come from?
It kind of looks like
Plugging
a
the image
Japanese,
into Tin Eyes, we're
like
able to
Oni
see
or
that the
something.
first instance of this image was from a post to r/creepy from a little over 10 years ago. This version of the image is actually a GIF, but it just
Yeah.
has the camera shaking a bit and some static overlay. The person who made this post
Could
confirmed
be.
that they did not create the image, but maybe there's another clue here that can help.
And they just like
I was
edited
also
it,
able to
put
find
big
another
eyes on
post
it.
from only a year ago discussing what the origins of the image could be, but many people were claiming different things with no actual proof. Looking through some of the comments on the two Reddit posts, several people noted that the face looks a lot like one of those creepy Japanese
Oh,
mannequins,
Jesus.
which,
Or could be
wow,
an
this
evil
might
Kung
actually
Lao.
be scarier. Fun
why
fact,
would you
these
say
mannequins
that?
are used in Japanese stores to represent
Oh my
American
God.
people. I was able to find some
What?
people saying they remember seeing the image
Are they trying to say that we're ugly, loud, and creepy? Is that what they're trying to say? I mean, I guess they wouldn't be wrong, but...
back in 2011 on 4chan, and someone also mentioned that the image could be created as far back as 2006, as they mentioned they first saw it around that time. But nothing helped me as much as this comment that also claimed it was from 2006 and claimed it was from a website titled YTMND. YTMND, or You're the Man Now Dog, is a website started in 2001 that's basically a meme and image board. With this new information, it didn't take long for me to scour YTMND and find this post. This is a post made in 2006 by user Roku titled A Fairly Tense Situation. This
Fairly?
is the original version of the image created by Roku. Roku even states that the background is just a room in his house, slightly edited. I couldn't find an exact source for what was used to make the face in the image, although I'm pretty sure it was one of those American, Japanese, creepy mannequins that were popularized in the early 2000s. Usually when I find the origins of an image that used to scare me, I kind of heal my trauma in a way, and the image ceases to freak me out. However, my brain isn't really sure what to do when I discover
The
that the
face is
source for the
something
image
out from
is even
MK4.
scarier than the image itself.
What the hell, Japan? Oh. Creepy dolphin.
When I started to make this series, I wanted to stay away from those cursed images, as they were more of a newer trend, and I only wanted to use image that personally freaked me out. However, this image of what looks to be a dolphin in a dark tank has actually been around a lot
Peanut
longer
butter
than the
jelly
cursed
time,
images
LOL.
trend, despite
Yeah.
being associated with it.
Peanut butter
And it used to
jelly
freak me
time.
out pretty bad when I was a kid. I used to see it a lot, specifically used in those 3 scary abandoned aquarium videos, and just in general on scary threads. More recently, I've seen it used, like I said, in those cursed image collections, but I scoured some videos covering those, and I couldn't find anyone talking about the dolphin image or its origins.
I have seen
So
it
where
around,
does
though.
this image come from? And is it even real? First things first, plugging the image into a reverse image search shows that the first instance of the image on the internet comes from a NeoGAF
Is that
thread
the old
about creepy
PS3
images
logo?
all the way back in 2012.
Looks like
The
it.
dolphin image was just placed in there about halfway down the thread. Oh wait, we know that guy. This version of the
Hey
dolphin
there.
image actually has a date stamped in the corner. It's a little hard to make out, but I believe it says August 9th, 2001. Looking through some of the other old results in the reverse image
On the
search,
video.
I found this Tumblr post also from 2012 that also has the date stamped in the corner. So this is definitely the original version of the image. The newer and more popular version was edited slightly to make it more dark and remove the date from the corner. I tried to get in contact with the NeoGAF user who originally posted the image to the internet, but I couldn't get in contact as it appears they're not active anymore. I tried to post to Reddit on a few different help me find subreddits, and I really only got information that I already knew. One person did actually respond and say, security officer at an aquarium if I remember correctly, but with no further information for me to go off of.
Oh, was that what that
It Reddit.
Is that what IIRC means? I see that around, but I didn't know what it meant. So it means if I remember correctly. Oh. I learned something new.
I also saw a couple more versions of this
Ah!
dolphin to make him look like something out of Subnautica. But as of right now, sadly, I'm at a dead end with this image. I've searched countlessly the last few nights, but I couldn't find anything else. If you have any information about its origins or your personal experiences with seeing this image, please let me know in the comments though, because I'm genuinely stumped on it. Speaking of sea creatures who had me stumped,
Squidward!
someone reached out to me on Reddit and provided the origins to the realistic Squidward image from the last video. Apparently it was made by Brush Commander in 2007 on DeviantArt, who is actually the same guy who made the realistic Patrick image, which makes a lot of sense. Hopefully someone can come through and provide the origins on this sea creature now.
Oh, God!
If you were super into creepypastas or just internet horror
I
in
hate
general
that
in the
one.
late 2000s, then you may have heard of the Grifter creepypasta. The
Oh,
Grifter
yeah.
was a creepypasta created and posted to 4chan in 2009 by a user named the Solopsist. The story wasn't very
zombie.
good and was your generic
Right.
cursed
Is
video
this the
story
Krusty
that a
Krab?
lot of the early creepypasta stories
No, this
followed
is
back
Patrick.
in the day. In the original 4chan thread, the Solopsis claimed that there is a video out there titled The Grifter, and that viewing it would take such a huge toll on your mental state because it was so disturbing. The Solopsis also posted 3 alleged screenshots from the video in the thread that are pretty eerie. He then went on in a later thread to further discuss details about the video, and this led to a ton of users on 4chan at the time to post their own experiences of watching the Grifter video and how it affected them. A bit later in September 2009, a YouTube user named JoeJacob666 would post a video
Patrick, that is
titled
the name of
The
the
Grifter,
restaurant.
which was allegedly the Grifter video that everyone was losing their minds over. Joe Jacob would use a ton of the details and images from the original 4chan post to stitch together this scary video that is supposed to be the infamous Grifter video. Scare Theater made a video a while back debunking the entire thing, as a lot of the visuals used in this video and the original 4chan thread were visuals from the trailer of a film called Little Odick. All of them except for this image that flashes halfway through the video.
I don't want to see that.
This image is super out of place, even in the randomness that is the Grifter video. It was also never spoken about by Scare Theater or anyone else that I've seen cover this creepypasta. After the Grifter video was posted to YouTube, many people would begin taking that image from halfway through the video and making their own scary post about it, leading it to spread throughout every corner of the internet. I remember seeing it on the thumbnail for a scary video back in the day and being traumatized by it. So
For
if it
real.
wasn't also ripped from the Little Odick trailer like everything else from the Grifter video, where did it come from? First, plugging it into a reverse image search, the oldest instance I could find for this image was from an Encyclopedia Dramatica page from October 19th, 2009, which was 2 months after it was used in the original Grifter video, so this can't be the original instance of the image on the internet. I decided to try and track down the original creator of the Grifter creepypasta, and I actually found his Reddit account while searching through some Reddit posts about the grifter story. He now goes by the name Fubens, and I was a little skeptical at first as he provided no proof other than his word that he was the original creator, but after digging through some really old posts on his Reddit account, I found this post from 12 years ago titled, "A collection of creepy images I made in Photoshop through the years." I couldn't access the image collection as the link was dead. However, someone commented and said, "Holy sh*, this was you? Dude, you're a legend." Clicking the link they attached, we're able to see the Grifter Boy image. Fubens replied, "I suppose between this stuff and the Grifter, I have some clout as far as creepy stuff goes. As for that particular pic, it was actually made before most of the stuff in the gallery, and I guess I got it right the first time since people seem to like it. Since that one, I've been trying to top it, but I don't know if the other ones really captivate that same kind of magic, you know? If there was any other doubt that Fubens was the creator, he basically did the rest of the work for me when someone replied to his reply asking, 'Do you have the original picture you altered?' Fubens replied with this link." The original unedited photo seems to be an older image of a child with cerebral palsy. I won't say much more as I feel like it's really distasteful that the edited image was even created in the first place. I hope this video can in some way prevent the edited version from being shared, as I still do see it being posted in some horror communities on the internet.
Yeah, that's a little disrespectful. Come on, people.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Was there any obscure images that you know of that I missed? Let me know in the comments. I'm not sure if I'll make a part 3 to this series, as I really only wanted to use images that were personal to me and that I haven't seen covered, and as of right now, I can't think of any more. I didn't really want to make this a series that devolved into slop where I just cover the same images that everyone else has already found the origins of, but if this video does well, I'll for sure dig and try to find some more images. Thank you guys again for watching, and make sure to like.
We got a kitty kissy. Boop. All right. Here we go. Nuke's top 5.
This next video was sent in by a Nuke's Top 5 viewer, but unfortunately it was posted to the internet without a source. So the story goes that a woman claimed to have a doll that was haunted, and she said that she would often catch it moving all on its own. After being asked repeatedly by viewers, she decided to point a camera at the doll and live stream the entire thing. Around an hour in, with skeptical viewers watching closely, there was a bit of movement. Watch closely.
Oh my god. That actually made me jump because I was expecting the damn doll to move. Somebody said I just screamed.
Yeah, now I'm out.
Oh my god, why am I watching these at night? Oh hell no.
Yup, pack it up.
Damn, Ghost, what the hell's your problem? You ain't gotta be doing all that.
Now, the doll doesn't actually move, but the items surrounding it in the storage closet fly violently across the room, and even on top of the doll. Viewers have speculated that because the doll was buried in the debris, that the woman's doll isn't even actually haunted, but perhaps her house is. However, others claim that the supernatural activity is centered around the doll, and some even claim that they saw the doll move in the video before everything came crashing down. But without a source, we'll never know. So, what do you think? A hug goodbye. A woman who calls herself Sissy says that her husband passed away 8 months ago under very sudden and unexpected circumstances.
Aw.
One day, as Sissy and her son Clarence
Poor
are
lady.
walking out of their front door, their Ring camera records something very strange.
You ready to go, Grandma's? Come on. Let's go.
I want you.
She's got kind of so sad.
Dada!
Dada.
Hurry me. Daddy hugging me. What?
Oh, wait.
What?
No. Okay. Ooh, come on, Clarence. Okay.
What, Daddy?
Whoa.
I was just about to ask. What'd you say, bud? You say bye, too?
Say bye. I say bye, Daddy.
Oh, okay.
Now, Sissy posted the video
Whoa.
because she thought it was just a little odd and kinda cute that her son was talking to his dad who passed away. She made no claims that the clip was paranormal, but when she posted the video online, viewers began to point out that there also seemed to be a strange voice in the clip. A voice that they thought might actually be the little boy's father, communicating from beyond. Now I'll enhance the audio and listen carefully just as little Clarence walks out of the door.
Come on. Let's go.
Yeah, I thought I heard
Do
something.
you need me yet?
Dada!
No, you're good.
Hurry me.
A quiet voice seems to whisper, "Honey," and the boy seems to look around as if searching for who said it. Even stranger, he seems to think that it's the voice of his deceased father and actually walks over as if his dad is standing nearby on the porch. The little boy says, "Daddy hugging me." And again, a
I
strange,
can
quiet
hear it.
voice seems to
Yeah.
whisper back.
Like,
Hurry me.
yeah, when he first showed the clip, I swear, when she opened the door, I thought I heard a whisper or something. I was like, glad my ears did not deceive me.
Ooh, come on, Clarence.
Daddy hugging me. What?
Oh, wait. No. Okay. Ooh, come on, Clarence.
What?
So did little Clarence actually encounter the spirit of his deceased dad, saying hello and giving him a quick hug? Clarence seems to think so. But as usual, you decide.
That's really cute.
Which board?
Okay, regardless of what you think, that's still really cute. And that's adorable.
A woman is doing a solo investigation of a haunted house and is using a Ouija board to contact a spirit named Brenda that she believes inhabits the home. But as she conducts her Ouija board session, she begins to suspect that she might be in contact with something much more sinister.
Am I dealing or am I speaking with the devil right now through this
Bruh.
Ouija board?
Bruh, don't be messing with
It
that
is not
shit.
Brenda. You've just said it's Brenda. It's not Brenda, is it? Oh my god. I'm trying to take deep breaths. Who am I communicating? I'm losing my. Who am I communicating with through this board? My nose is bleeding right now.
The board
Oh my
from
God.
Phasmophobia.
The demon it's trying to say. I know I've got no tissue, but my nose is bleeding right now. The board is moving. Oh my god, right, that's it, I'm done, I'm off. I'm sorry guys.
She hears a strange sound from the floor above her and her nose starts to bleed. But still, she decides to continue her session. Suddenly, the Ouija board flies off the table and finally, she decides that she has had about enough. And she just gets out of there.
You're supposed to say goodbye. You're supposed to say goodbye. You
A
gotta
guy
close
named
off
Angelo decides
communication.
to camp in a forest that is said to be haunted. He's a bit unnerved by the spooky surroundings, but nevertheless, he decides to try to contact any nearby spirits with a Ouija board. As you might expect, it did not go well.
heard something move outside the tent.
How are people
Gonna
so...
end the session for a second, okay?
How are people so damn brave to do this shit, man? Especially by themselves.
I'm closing off the session.
It's Siren Head.
I hope not. Well, let's see, at least he said goodbye. Oh, he's got a knife!
I don't see anything. Well, that was weird. It literally walked as it walked. It literally sounded as if...
Stacy.
What the f*** was that?
Did you see? Did something move over here, too? Did you see that?
That's not a knife, this is a knife.
I got you to say it!
Stacy.
Nope, no. That's...
Who the fuck is Stacy?
I don't know what the hell that was.
I did.
I don't know if I want to know what the hell that was. What do I do? Honestly, I think I should probably leave.
Might be a good idea, yeah.
Let's, I think I'm gonna do that.
Angelo begins to freak out from the strange sounds that seem to surround his tent and decides it's time to leave.
Okay, exit is just
I
down
heard
that
the
way.
name in the vid or am I tripping?
That was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I just heard something. Something made a sound in my ear. What the What the was that?
Oh my god.
Nope. Let's just go. There's the exit.
A guy named Brendan Castagnon says that he used a Ouija board in his house, but didn't sign off properly at the end of the session.
Oh,
He
you
claims that
idiot.
after this, he began to experience strange paranormal incidents in his home.
The
One night, he
MKXL
awakens
line
to the
from
sound of
Kano and
something
take
moving
it up.
around in the other room. He grabs his phone and starts to record.
Yep. Got it.
Look, I'm jumping off the window.
Oh! Yeah, I'm staying at a friend's house.
A strange pale face seems to peek around the corner, but when Brendan approaches, there's nothing there. Now terrified, he tries to retreat back to his room, but the door slams shut right in front of him. Brendan Castagnon says that after this incident, he never used the Ouija board again. And
Good.
thankfully, the supernatural incidents in his
I'm
home
jumping
have
off the
slowly
window.
stopped occurring. Abandoned?
Of course, let's turn on our skeptical brains. That could have just been a hoax. It could have just been his buddies, acting, and, it's all a setup.
Or not. A guy who calls himself Native Penguin was doing some urban exploring on the grounds of the Cherokee Heritage Center in Park Hill, Oklahoma. A collection of old buildings were built on the site of the former Cherokee Female Seminary, a boarding school for girls that burnt to the ground in 1887. Suddenly, Native Penguin starts to hear something very strange.
Am I tripping or is there something going on in here? What the?
I'm sorry, what?
After moving to Indian Territory, Cherokee Nation set aside 1 acre of ground to raise church congregation. Moravians, Baptists.
Dude, that's so creepy. Why is this?
Oh, it's a
Even though
record.
the center has been closed down for years, there's an odd recorded message playing inside one of the buildings. Native Penguin looks in the windows to try to figure out just what is going on. He captures something on camera that is truly bizarre.
Okay. Dude, that scared me. I was like, there's someone in there.
At Mount Zion Church, where I pastor, we conduct our services in both languages, Cherokee and English. And when we have a completely Cherokee audience,
Some strange white apparition seems to glide by just
Oh,
behind the
I
building's
didn't even see
old wood
that.
stove and disappears. Now, some viewers say it looks like a girl in a white gown, but what do you see? Did Native Penguin capture the spirit of one of the girls from the old burned school that once stood here? You decide. Driven to the grave. A man named Mark DeFalco is on his daily walk around his neighborhood when he notices that a car has crashed through the fence of the local graveyard. He starts to film, and what he captures is absolutely unnerving.
Wait, Ashra, listening to the speech.
Damn, man. People gotta learn to slow down. Lucky they didn't hit none of these tombstones. Real lucky.
Oh, I hear it.
Hello? You alright? You okay? What the hell? What the fuck is going on here? There ain't nobody there. Miss? Hello?
Mark hears creepy, unexplained sobbing as he approaches the car.
What
But
in the
then
world?
It suddenly seems to just stop as he reaches the car. Now, Mark received multiple requests for a follow-up video to explain the situation.
Ooh,
But
that
Mark
is
says that he didn't really understand what happened himself.
That is
But
so
he
creepy.
did provide a pretty simple update.
Well, I finally got an update for you on that cemetery video. They fixed that fence.
Now, this video was filmed 3 years ago, and to this day, Mark claims that the video he captured is 100% real and that he can explain it. But let me know what you think.
You okay? What the hell?
Intruders. A young woman named Jeanette moves into a new apartment. But not long after, as she is recording herself practicing a new dance routine, something happens that is truly terrifying.
Oh, I think there's somebody there.
Can I help you?
remember the friends?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember. Please get out. Please get out of my apartment. Please get out of my apartment.
Oh my god.
Luckily, Jeanette escapes unharmed, She calls the police and they check her apartment, but the intruder is no longer there. Jeanette says that the man was never caught. But it gets even weirder, because after Jeanette uploaded the video of her frightening experience, observant viewers notice something very strange. As Jeanette is fleeing her apartment, something seems to open the door right in front of her, as if clearing her path so that she can get away.
Please get out of my apartment. Please go out of my apartment.
Jeanette says that she has no idea how this could have happened.
I don't know. I'm just as confused as you guys are. I have no idea what happened. This door is not the easiest to open, and this is why I think it's like a divine thing, or like, I don't know, a ghost, or I don't. Yeah. It's not easy. So it's not like just like the wind pushed it or anything. I think someone actually, or something, I don't know.
So now let's cut ahead to a few days later. Jeanette and her friend are unboxing some of her belongings as she continues to move into her new apartment. But her friend sees something that gives her the chills.
What? There's someone in your bedroom. You saw a man in my bedroom?
He was right there between the green table and the bed, against the wall like this.
No.
Jeanette's friend says that she saw a man just standing in the bedroom. But now, the man is gone. A few days later, and again Jeanette hears some strange noises from somewhere in her apartment. What happens next is pure nightmare fuel.
Oh, good. I was like, girl, you better get a weapon.
It's like Granny.
Jeanette considers running out the front door, but instead she rushes into her nearby bedroom and grabs her pepper spray. But as she turns around, her blood runs cold as she sees something slowly make a deep imprint on her mattress, almost as if some spirit actually sits down on her bed. As she runs out of the room in fear, she turns, and the imprint on the bed is gone. Jeanette says that she is now terrified of the weird things going on in her new apartment. She says that friends have been staying with her until she can decide just what to do. Black Mass. A young woman named Olivia Conkle says that some very strange things have been happening at the apartment that she shares with her boyfriend. Doors in the apartment often just open and close all on their own. One night, the couple returns home and sees something truly horrifying that seems to be staring out of their apartment window. The couple looks around their apartment, but there's just nothing there.
We're about to go in. I don't think I've ever been more scared of my life. I don't even have any words.
But the paranormal activity in their home seems to be getting worse every
No
day.
big fat no.
One night, Olivia is all alone when this happens. So, are Olivia and her boyfriend being haunted by some dark, shapeless thing that hides in the shadows? You decide. Scary videos. These are videos that are sort of in the scary video genre, but they're just kind of silly, and also they're all about doggies. So, first up, a man is watching a horror movie when very strange things start to happen nearby.
Yes. That's good. Because I'm here for my
cute doggies.
Oh, the dog's stuck.
You don't offer me.
Bro, I'm literally watching a horror movie. What the hell?
The chair is moving
Alright,
by
so it was
itself.
just an old
Did you
dog
see
trying to
that?
remove his diaper, but even that's a little bit scary. Poor doggy. Next, a man leads his little French bulldog back inside his apartment building, but someone has just set up a spooky Halloween decoration at the end of the hallway.
It's a dog moving it.
Yep. Oh, look at that dog.
Dog looks back kind of like, nope, maybe you should go check that out alone.
He's like, I ain't going down
I
there.
thought it was a chair
And this one, the
moving my
caption
bag.
says it all. If your dog is scared, you should be scared.
Uh-oh.
And finally, a woman introduces her new doll to her cute little pug named Augie.
He's like, get this ugly thing out of my face.
But can this little dog sense something about the doll that we can't? Nah, probably not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Maybe like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you next time.
Yeah, if my dog started bolting the other way like that, we're both running. I don't know what you're running from, but I'm coming. I'm right behind you. Alrighty. I hope the next video I play isn't something, scary.
Same, I'm running.
Oh shit.
Get the hell away from me.
Oh, there's another lost media.
Big Brother. This is not related to the American TV reality series, but rather is an old PC game developed by Media X, based on the famous novel by George Orwell, 1984, and was meant to be a sequel to the events of the book. However, the game was never released and ended up being cancelled in 1998, despite it being showcased at E3 that year. It was a first-person adventure title in which you play as the character of Eric Blair, the true birth name of George Orwell, which was actually just his pen name in which he wrote the novel and other works involving social critiques, with most of the gameplay consisting of you navigating different areas and solving puzzles while interacting with various NPCs and environmental obstacles. The plot mainly revolved around Eric trying to rescue his girlfriend from the clutches of the Thought Police, Before becoming entrenched in the world of underground hacking and fighting against the oppressive Big Brother government itself, the levels were said to be very long at up to 5 hours, with 12 levels in total, which is quite a lot of content, but apparently as much as 60 total were planned allegedly. The game was showcased briefly at E3 in 1998 and was given a release date of September of that year and a price tag of $29.95, even winning some awards before the game even came out, and tragically was scrapped for unknown reasons after it was delayed a year, before Media X eventually lost the rights altogether. The game was also said to have been quite advanced for the time in terms of its 3D world, first-person perspective, and facial animations, and the game was even said to have been mostly completed, sitting at around 70% done. And for decades, that's all we had on this long-lost title. No builds of the game, just the footage from the demo at E3, as well as some screenshots and artwork for the project. Until this year, on March 1st of 2025, a build of the game was uploaded to the Internet Archive by user Shed Troll, dated January 4th, 1999. The Golden Bat is Here. The Golden Bat is Here is a Japanese film based on the Golden Bat character, originally released in May of 1972 by Toho Studios, that was, and still today remains, quite obscure. It was apparently only ever released during a short theatrical run and never received any home media release. The only thing that was available from the film, and was still incredibly rare and hard to come by, was the soundtrack, which was released, but only has a few copies that are known to exist today. Besides that, there was a small snippet from the film, taken of a direct VHS recording of a TV broadcast, but at some point, this footage also became lost after it was taken down. The movie featured the Japanese pop culture character of Ogon Bat, also called Phantom Man or Golden Bat in English, who became popular after debuting in Kamishibai, Japanese paper theater, and is said to be one of the world's first superhero characters. The film depicted the history of Japanese paper theater, showing the rise of the character and its popularity with children, and evolved over the years as Kamishibai became obsolete with the rise of other storytelling mediums such as television. The film in its entirety was located this year after it was posted by Lost Media Wiki user Maxwell Breesy on February 28, 2025. The Suicide Sheik. What if I told you that the iconic creepypasta, SuicideMouse.avi, wasn't a piece of fiction, but rather a...
The Suicide Sheik sounds like a bad foreign translation of Sabu. Or maybe like if somebody made a character based on him, but they didn't want to use the actual name.
A real Disney cartoon. I'm sure you wouldn't believe me, and I doubt I would either if someone told me this. Until this year, when something all too similar was actually found. A 1929 Disney short featuring Mickey Mouse's precursor and one of their most prominent animated cartoon characters, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, in which the character in question attempts to
Oh, that's good. I hope the snake is okay, too.
kill himself in numerous ways. Being that it is one of the earliest known Oswald shorts, it fell into obscurity over the almost century that it's existed, and eventually, like many of the other early Disney animated short films, became lost media. Until in 2019, a man named Ray Langston managed to track down a reel of the cartoon, but the footage was not made available to the public, and was instead held in state archives until the film entered the public domain, which, you guessed it, happened this year. And on January 1st of 2025, this fever dream of a short was released to the public. The plot of the short consists of Oswald and his girlfriend, Hortensia the cat, frolicking through a field of flowers, until she eventually rejects him after he says something to her. It's unclear exactly what's being said because there is no audible dialogue, just some thought bubbles, but it's thought that he may have been asking her to marry him. Either way, Oswald's heart is broken.
Yeah, because that looked like the two of them along with...
But man, I almost got bit by Shang Tsung.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that was probably what he was asking because it looked like the two of them and all their multiple bunny children.
leading him to try and end his own life by having a safe land on his head, shooting himself in the face with a cannon, and even hanging himself. All of these attempts fail, however, due to him being a lucky rabbit, and he finally stops after he realizes that Hortensia's apartment, or house, is burning down, and rescues her from the burning building. The end. A rather dark concept for a cartoon animated short, but it really isn't as disturbing as the description might make it out to be. The full short can still be viewed today on YouTube. The Pom Pom EP. Created by the indie rock band Dreamwife, this EP was released for a short time online in 2014 before being taken down by the next year, with seemingly no known backups found online, leaving the tracks lost. This was one of the band's earliest ventures into the music scene, releasing 2 EPs including the Pom Pom EP before actually releasing their debut album titled eponymously Dreamwife in 2018.
You mean getting
The other
soul
early
sucked?
EP released in 2016 was still widely available, but their true debut remained elusive. It was said to have contained 4 tracks entitled Be With Me, Chemistry, Believe, and Surf,
Bite
and was
not
stated to have
sucked.
been available on Bandcamp for a short time before being taken off the site. Interest in the EP grew as the band became more famous, although they were much less well known when the original EP was
Oh, got
released,
you.
which is why it remained lost and obscure for years, until in March of 2025, a YouTube archive channel called At Risk Media Archive uploaded the EP in its entirety, where it can be listened to today. Halo 2 E3 Beta. Halo 2, for me personally, is one of my favorite games of all time, thanks not only to it being such a great sequel to the first game, but also being one of the very first games I ever played on the original Xbox, so there's a lot of nostalgia there, and this little gem discovered this year had me hyped as a big fan of the franchise. Now, Halo 2 today is often lauded as one of the best games in the whole series, but was actually plagued by a variety of issues when it came to its development, including its notoriously short development window, as well as the
Same here,
fact
I
that
love the
Bungie
Halo
got very
series
deep
you
into
played,
development of
Halo
this game,
Goth.
only to completely scrap
Nah.
it and start over,
I haven't
with
really
some of
played
the
it. It's not
only
really my
remnants
type of
from
game.
this version being a demo which was
understand why people like
showcased
it.
at E3 2003, a year before the game we know today would launch. This demo was quite
I'm not really
interesting
into space
because it
adventure
was
stuff.
very different from the final game, not just in terms of presentation, but also even included an entirely cut level from the game, which seemed to be quite similar to the levels Outskirts and Metropolis, which would appear in the final release. Of course, the game looks quite rough and is unfinished in this demo build. Different animations, textures, even the battle rifle is single fire rather than the 3-round burst, sort of like the DMR in Halo Reach. Unfortunately, however, for years this mission remained unplayable after the level was scrapped and the game was completely reworked, leaving only this archived footage from the E3 presentation as proof of its existence. That was until, through the work of the modding team DigSite, as well as 343 Studios, the mission was reworked and fully restored as a part of the Master Chief Collection, where it can now be replayed as it was originally designed, granted on a very different version of the engine compared to the early development kit, but still a huge W for Lost Media and Halo fans alike. But this was technically found last year in November of 2024. Thankfully though, there was another E3 build found from Halo 2 this year in January. Halo 2 was again shown off at E3 2004 in May, before its release in November. And during this showcase, there was a multiplayer demo that was available only at this event, until it was finally leaked online through the Internet Archive by a user named Carnival, who found it through an Xbox debug kit, although it isn't much different and is only playable on the map Zanzibar, but also, interestingly enough, allows the user to actually trigger the E3 presentation on this build using a certain button combination, which is neat. Fish Atari Prototype. We still have Atari 2600 games, a console first released back in 1977, having lost games that are being found for it in the big 2025. Allow me to introduce you to Fish, a very simple game and prototype by today's standards, but still a cool find nonetheless. The game was found on January 10th of 2025 when a user going by Dutchman2000 posted to the Atari Age forums with a download link to the game, which they said they acquired from a VAX/VMS backup tape from Atari's coin-op division. Besides that, not much is known about the game's development, despite this prototype being fully playable today. It's a fairly simple game similar to Shark Shark, in which you go through waves playing as a fish, eating other sea life, and getting power-ups while avoiding obstacles. You know, the usual affair for the time. Zoptions Focusing on Your Future. Zoptions Focusing on Your Future is an educational short film created in cooperation with the Canadian government in the 1990s to be shown at schools about a group of kids that play an arcade game called Zoptions, which illustrates various careers and job paths in their future and relays to the children the importance of education and staying in school to one day get a job and maintain a professional career. It was made in both English and French and bundled on VHS alongside some other educational videos. However, besides the fact that it was created in 1989 by Charbonneau Productions in collaboration with Human Resources Development Canada, and the fact that it allegedly won an international award, at least it lists so, on the Termium Plus database, not much else was known. The video ended up becoming obscure and lost sometime down the line, likely after it stopped showing up in school curriculum. However, the film was found on February 25th of 2025 when a user called Oyen managed to track it down by putting in a request to the Library and Archives of Canada, which granted them access to both the French and English versions of the videos, each being about 12 minutes long, making this short film now found. Weird Harold Unreleased Songs. One band you might not have heard of, hailing from San Francisco, is the group known as Weird Harold, who played in clubs in the area in the late 60s, and were friends with other musicians at the time that would go on to be quite famous, such as the Doobie Brothers, who even later dedicated a few songs to a member of the band, who passed in 1970, named Billy Dean Andrus. Before his passing, though, the band recorded their only known album back in 1968 and 1969, but went unreleased for unknown reasons, possibly due to disputes with the studio, producers, or management. Either way, the album was lost for decades, and the master tapes thought to have been destroyed, though many claim that copies of the album did still exist and were in the hands of the surviving members of the band, including Paul Ziegler and Max Weiss. Finally, over 50 years after it was recorded, the album would be released by Spanish record label Guersen Records on February 12, 2025, given the name Just Yesterday. Finley the Fire Engine Pilot. Here we have another previously lost and now found pilot episode. Get ready because there are quite a few more. This one being from the BBC program Finley the Fire Engine, a British animated children's series which aired for 2 seasons and 78 episodes, featuring the adventures of a talking fire engine named Finley as he traverses the town of Friendlyville, which has other talking vehicles. The first episode of the series aired on September 30th, 2007, and consists of 2 segments, which each episode typically does. However, there was an unreleased pilot episode dated way back to February of 2004, which never aired, called Fast Freddy Fire Truck,
give you
a
any
slightly
cohesive
altered
route
version
to
of
get
Finley
from
the Fire
point A to
Engine.
B regardless of what address you put in. It just says you can go your own way to get there.
Womp womp. Hi, Merc. Good evening.
This lost
Good of you
pilot
to
was
join us.
discovered and posted to YouTube by Channel Derps in January of 2025. That original upload, it looks like, has been taken down, but it itself was archived, leaving this once lost pitch pilot found and still available on YouTube. Drawn Together Pitch Pilot. Drawn Together was a 3-season animated sitcom that aired on Comedy Central from October 2004 to November of 2007 for a total of 36 episodes. The cartoon is a parody of American reality TV shows and sitcoms, utilizing caricatures of various well-known real-life people from reality TV, as well as other cartoon characters. The show was pitched to Comedy Central in 2003 by creators Dave Jesser and Matt Silverstein. It wasn't your typical pitch pilot though, more of a proof of concept utilizing rough animation done through Flash, and also featured character designs that were quite different from the final show. The only footage that existed for a long time was a short clip from behind-the-scenes footage of the Drawn Together the Movie DVD.
Caught on 4K.
However, since that movie released way back in 2010, it seemed unlikely this lost pitch pilot would ever see the light of day, until this year, when one of the original creators, Matt Silverstein, uploaded the entire thing to his YouTube channel in March of 2025. Kiki How Crew.
That show is not for the faint of heart. It is quite adult.
Cruiser. Airing back in the 80s, Kiki How Cruiser was a Chinese puppet show based on the works of Chinese writer Zhang Wanji. The show aired briefly for only about 16 episodes, which were only thought to have ever aired on one channel, which had no home media releases of any kind, making it quite a rare and obscure piece of media. The show follows a group of toys that seek adventure, including a model cruiser ship that the series is named after. Due to its obscurity, no episodes of the show were available online, until in 2020, the last episode, episode 16, was posted to YouTube, but that still left the rest of this
I don't even know if that
series.
if that would
but
ever
through
exist.
the diligent work of the Lost Media community, specifically a member of the Lost Media Archaeology QQ team named Sinking Planet, they managed to acquire the remaining episodes and upload them to Bilibili in
Only
April of
4K.
this year, making the entire series now found.
I know
Family
8K.
Guy unaired pilot.
I know 8K exists.
This is
I don't know
probably
about
the
anything
biggest
higher
find
than
of
that.
this year, at least at the time of me making this volume of this series, the once lost pitch pilot for the famous American animated sitcom Family Guy. I probably don't need to introduce the show given its cultural relevance and popularity over the years,
Family Guy.
airing first in 1999 and going to this day for 23 seasons and over 400 episodes. Before the show would debut with its pilot episode, Death Has a Shadow, on January 31st, 1999. There was a
Tom
pilot
Hanks
which was
cutaway.
created and pitched to
Yeah.
Fox by Seth MacFarlane and was apparently made with only a budget of around $50,000, leading Seth to animate most of the episode by himself, which is quite impressive given it's a 15-minute long episode. The only footage available could be found on a DVD special feature, but this only had a portion of the episode, although we did get a look at the character designs, which were slightly different from the real first episode of the show, mainly with Lois's hair color being changed,
Death is coming
as well
for
as quite a
Family
few
Guy,
voice
LOL.
actors. However, it turned out the episode was uploaded to the website of an animator named Robert Paulson, and was only discovered this year by Lost Media Wiki user Ghost Dead Girl in March of 2025. The entire pitch pilot for Family Guy has since been uploaded to YouTube, where it can still be watched today.
Remember when Dad got drunk off the communion wine at church?
And the beer winner and Peter getting drunk and getting done by Lois. Woke woke Peter.
God, I hate it when he tells this story. Yet miraculously, Job was still able to keep his dignity.
I swear I have that Tom Hanks bit memorized. I got it. That's the guy from Big. Tom Hanks. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, funny guy. Everything he says is a stitch. I have AIDS. He's stupid. Ooh, this is a good YouTuber. Shady Do Rags. He does good, like, videos on, cartoon episodes, mostly like DC stuff.
Now I'm baby for good and everyone will love me again. Hugs, hugs!
It's
Hey,
the 1
hello, how
hour
do you
for
do?
the
Shady
stream,
Durex
just
here.
saying
Alright,
it.
it's been a hot minute. Let's get back into the swing of things. Today we're returning to Batman the Animated Series to look at its second most renowned episode, Baby Doll. Well, actually, that's a smidgen of a lie. This episode takes place in what is currently known as Season 2 of Batman, but back in the day, it was a completely different show called The Adventures of Batman and Robin, which was a continuation of Batman. Hindsight is 2020, but this change was definitely unnecessary. I'm guessing someone thought Robin would be more marketable to kids, which, to be fair, is true depending on what decade you're in, and was certainly the case with yours truly, so I can see where they were coming from adding his name to the title. However, I'm not in a forgiving mood, because I'm Batman beyond annoyed with the intro change. Instead of animation made specifically for the opener, it's just clips of the show, which I'm rarely ever a fan of. And while the music is still quality, it's a downgrade from the original. Though I should mention this was not the show's only intro. There was another version of it with music from the original show that you can still find out in the wild, but that version still has the problem of just being a clip show. Sorry, but modern day reboots and sequels have made me vastly less forgiving when people mess with perfection. Now, before we dive into things, there is something I need to bring up. An awkward visual constantly happens throughout this episode, and I, for the life of me, cannot think of a way to address it without making it more awkward. So here's what we're gonna do instead. We're all gonna ignore
Did
the
you know
elephant in the room.
Batman Beyond is a series here? Batman is an old man and retired as the Batman, and Terry is the new Batman.
Yes, I know. I've seen Batman Beyond. I know about it. Did you know that Terry McGinnis ends up being Batman's biological son, according to a Justice League episode? So there you go.
It's happening, I won't acknowledge it's happening. We'll all see it, but we won't say anything so that none of us look weird, okay? Okay. The episode starts just outside of a Gotham theater, where some of the people who work there are heading home for the night. One of the actors, Brian, hears a little girl crying and goes to check on her.
My big brother went away and left me by my lonesomes. Big brothers aren't supposed to do that to their baby sisters.
What is he, your keeper?
Here, dry your eyes and I'll help you find a policeman.
You're so nice to me. But then you always was the nicest one, Tippy.
Ugh, this episode is really gonna test my inner need to correct grammar.
You! But how?
Sorry, I had to play roughs, Tippy. I didn't mean to.
You didn't mean that. We transition to a documentary of an old television show where Summer Gleason is talking about a former actress, Mary Dahl. Oh, I get it. And her now canceled sitcom, Love That Baby. The documentary is being presented to the dynamic duo by Commissioner Gordon so they can get the context of his current case.
Well, baby, you'd better have a pretty good explanation for this.
I didn't mean to.
I remember this show from when I was a kid. It still stinks.
Guys, shut up! Grayson is here.
3 of the cast's original actors disappeared last...
I love you, Dick Grayson. You were my favorite Robin, and I love you as Nightwing as well. We stand Dick Grayson in this house.
Last week.
Original actors? What, was there a reboot?
And these two? Miss Vance is in the show at Gotham Rep. I have police bodyguards following her everywhere. But that other one, Mary Dahl, dropped out of sight years ago.
Okay, was Spielberg visiting this side of the animation studio when this episode was made?
I read about her once in a medical journal. She was born with systemic hypoplasia, a rare condition that kept her from aging.
I would put a joke here about Batman remembering random facts.
Jason Todd is my fave Robin, not because my favorite color is red, lol.
It's Batman. At this point, it would be weird if he didn't do that.
Did you believe she was 20 years old?
Did you he got revived by the Lazarus pit and was Red Hood?
Yes. Wait, yes. I was gonna say I like him as Red Hood.
Very misleading information.
As the adorable baby doll, young Mary quickly captured the hearts of millions.
I mean, 20 is young, but Summer knew what she was doing. Bats lets Jim know that he and Robin will get to work on the case, but before the two head out, the police escort calls in on the radio.
Why are you doing this?
Quiet!
The lady asked you a question, creep.
And my favorite part is where Jason is going to kill the Joker.
Yeah.
Robin, literally 15 seconds to show up.
Because that's what heroes do.
Tammy gets captured and put into what
Hell
I presume
yeah,
to be
Robin.
an armored vehicle. Bat's not about to be outcarred, summons the you-know-what.
No!
Holy quick reflexes, Batman. I sure hope that was a Wayne Enterprises newsstand.
Naughty, naughty baby. Haven't I told you not to run off?
I didn't mean to.
Hold it. Could have gotten a clean getaway, but no, you just had to say it. Nah, I can't blame you. It's important for anyone with a catchphrase to always use it whenever they get a chance.
That's a fact.
Batman and Robin attempt to stop Mary, but she's able to get away through a smokescreen.
I got him! It's me, though.
Hit him anyway. It's a smokescreen. No one will know. Sorry,
right?
I don't like Bullock. Later, Tammy wakes up
Nobody
in what looks
likes
to be the
Bullock.
old set of Love That Baby and finds her former co-stars.
Welcome home, Sister Susie. I missed you so.
Mary? Mary Doll?
No, sillies. I'm baby, member. It's Susie and Tippy and Mumsy and Daddy and Baby together again.
Did you know in Injustice Gods Among Us Batman tell Damian he is dead to him?
Yeah. I know why.
Oh, this got creepy. Elsewhere in Summer Gleason's office.
And I'm gonna talk about why.
Interested in has-been actors?
Since that one's been kidnapping her co-stars.
I love the glowing eye silhouette so much.
Any reason she'd have a grudge?
Actually, they
Because
should
of
hate
him
her.
killing
Doll
Grayson.
put them all out
I
of work
said
when
I
she
didn't
put
want
the
to talk
series
about
on
it.
a dramatic actress. Will these hands never be clean? Here's the smell of the blood still.
Is that the same voice actress? Oh goodness, it is.
Yeah. I love voice acting so much.
Is good range, Miss LaPlaca, though that name's not ringing any bells. You play anyone else I know?
What delightfully strong neck muscles. May I, kiss them?
Anyone else? Huh, that's a shame.
You. That's what the critics said. Baby's dramatic career flopped, and when she tried to start her TV show again, the networks turned her down.
Summer, her name's Mary, not Baby. Back on set, Mary exclaims how much she loves reliving the show.
Here comes Buster begging for scraps. Bad boy, Buster. Go away.
God, I love Mary's design and her animation. The facial expressions especially are so vivid. Though she does still seem very out of place in this show. It's a little distracting.
It's my birthday! Yay for me!
That's it. I always knew you were a selfish little brat. This time you've gone too far. Expect a call from my lawyer.
You know she's got two big burly dudes with machine guns with her, right? You think you're just gonna walk out?
Crap, I thought I was calling her bluff.
You canceled our show because you whined you weren't getting enough attention.
But I knows now I made a boo-boo.
It was hard for me out there.
Yeah, whiplash.
I studied and trained and auditioned, but no one wanted me.
He starts monologuing.
My favorite Robin is
How
Nightwing.
happy I was with all of you around me and the folks at home watching me each week. Me.
Baby doll.
Yeah, more whiplash. Back in the Batcave.
Remember that time Poison Ivy nearly smothered us in those vines?
Yes.
This is worse.
How I felt watching Mickey 17. Robin finds out that there was one actor Mary hadn't kidnapped yet, the boy who played her cousin in the final season.
Doll was furious that she was upstage on her birthday episode.
So why hasn't she gone after cousin Spunky?
Maybe she's waiting for the right occasion.
By the way, they never say what that occasion is. I thought Mary was waiting for her birthday, given what's about to happen, as well as Batman saying Mary was furious about being upstaged on her birthday episode, but we just saw her having a birthday, so that doesn't really add up. We fade to a neighborhood where we see cousin Spunky, whose real name we never learned, practicing his guitar.
My baby was taking a nap and your music woke her up.
Hey, I have to practice, you know?
You're still a stinky jerkface, Spunky.
Ah, so this is where Batman and Robin show up in the nick of time, right? Anytime now, boys. God, it's like the Joker fish gas, except it turns you into a freakazoid character.
Wake up, sleepyheads. It's time for my birthday party. Yay!
Ow.
Okay, I guess the dynamic duo didn't make it in time. I mean, I'm sure they'll arrive eventually, but I was expecting them to ambush Baby so she could lead them back to her hideout. When they eventually show up, they better have a good explanation of how they found everyone.
Her name is Mary, not Baby.
Shut up, Baby's also her villain name. Mary reminds her former co-stars of how she was upstaged in the show on her birthday episode.
Spunky's pushed my head in the cake.
We were just playing characters in a TV show.
It was real to me.
Yeah, Iron Man too.
I loved Baby Doll until you came along.
Okay, I'm joking around, but I genuinely do love the quick switches between Baby's personality and Mary's. The jarringness of it adds a lot to the story. It also makes her more creepy and intimidating in setting, though with that design, yeah, I doubt it'll have the same effect on those of us watching the show.
Now Baby's gonna get evens. It's never too late to have a happy childhood.
All right, we got a ticking clock and death on the line. It's now or never, Batman and Robin. Oh my, Spunky with the quick thinking. Good job, my dude.
Cheater!
By the way, I think this moment might be darker than the surface lets on. You see the size of that explosion? No one next to that cake was meant to survive it. Now look where Baby Doll is seconds.
Oh yeah, it was clear she was gonna take everybody out
before it explodes. She's closer to it than anyone. My headcanon is that this was meant to be Baby's final scene. Mary wanted to spend her final moments pretending to be in the last place that made her happy, with her finishing act being getting revenge on Spunky as she and her quote-unquote family go up in blazes together. Mary reveals that her doll has a few accessories to it, like a voice box and being able to shoot someone in the face. But before she could pull the trigger on Spunky,
I'm Batman!
Finally! Now explain, how did you find them?
Surprise!
I told Spunky what you were up to, and we switched places. Batman rigged me with a transmitter that led him right here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Applause. I genuinely did not see that coming. Nice twist.
Oh, aren't you Mr. Smarty Heads?
Did I mention I freaking love the animation and expressions on this character?
Damn.
I really hope that Cal is packing some serious protection because that right there is a guaranteed concussion.
Wow, lady. You're good.
It's a living.
Every weekday and every weekend, drop in on Kids WWB.
I didn't think this through. Robin unties the kidnapped actors while Batman runs after Mary. The hero and the villain head into a nearby amusement park where Mary hides among the children. See, I might be able to believe Batman couldn't find her if she, you know, didn't look like she missed her exit trying to get to an Animaniacs episode.
Batman!
It's Batman! Batman!
That is the correct response. My first time viewing this, I thought the kids running up to Batman was just a fun little detail the writers put in because that's what kids would do, but it's actually plot relevant. Mary, looking like an adolescent, is hiding among the kids, but them running up to Batman ruins her hiding spot. She can either run closer to Batman with the crowd and be spotted, stay where she is and be spotted, or run away and be spotted. It's actually really good organic storytelling to allow Bats to find Mary.
The banana Batman.
Normally I'd expect him to tough it out, but Bats' head is not in the best condition right now. Also, Baby, you have an actual gun. Why didn't you shoot him? Batman eventually follows Baby into a closed-down funhouse.
Don't run away.
Because this is a still a kids show, you can't have any actual, like, shooting with the bullets.
Hey, I know you're scared, confused. I can help you.
Okay. I guess Bruce heard the conversation with the cake. Either that, or he just used his Batman powers to figure out Mary is going through something. Both are equally plausible.
But the Joker can and she don't.
Again with the head, and again, you have a gun.
Now's we're playing by my rules.
Bats, seriously, CAT scan immediately after this.
Game's over, Mr. Batman.
Okay, so you wait till Batman can see you pointed at him
no
to pull
Batman
out the gun.
Fight back.
I wonder what will happen.
No fair!
And with that, we finally get to the scene you've all been waiting for. Baby enters a hall of mirrors,
Why
which of
couldn't you
course
just let
distort
me
her
pretend?
reflection. One mirror in particular makes her look matured, and also somehow changes her hair and outfit, but
The
ignore
best
that, this is a really
weapon, the
good scene.
grapple gun.
But it's not really real, is it?
Why couldn't you just let me make believe?
Well, make believe, that's what she said.
So part of my job is to explain what scenes mean.
Because
and I like
I am
doing
Batman.
it, it's fun, but when I get to a scene like this that's executed so well, it almost feels like a disservice to explain it. But again, it is my job, so let's go. Mary Doll found value in herself as Baby Doll. Originally, she knew the role was just an acting job, which is why she sought more. However, the world rejected anything else she had to offer. When you face rejection like that over and over and over, it can really mess you up. Mary began to believe that she only had value as Baby, and she linked that value with her happiness. So she tried to forcibly recreate her life as Baby with her fellow actors. A part of her is still very much aware that it's all fake, but she's trying to shove that part down. She's trying to completely become Baby, possibly just long enough to see her revenge go through. However, seeing her adult self in the mirror gave her a glimpse of the truth and brought Mary's actual personality to the surface. With that smile, we can even theorize that it gave her some joy to finally see herself matured. Wouldn't be shocking to find out she's dealing with some body dysmorphia. But the thing about Mary is that she was the part Baby was trying to keep down. She's the one who knows that Baby is just a coping mechanism. And seeing her real self brought out makes her snap, especially since it's also an illusion. At first, she tries to take her anger out on Batman, shooting his reflection and blaming him for her plans not going right. But then she sees herself, and that becomes her target. This right here can mean so many different things. It could represent Mary wanting to end everything like I talked about in the birthday scene. It could mean that Mary recognizes that she herself is broken, hence the imagery of her being shattered. It could be Mary shattering the illusion that she's been forcing herself to accept, because that's what a warped reflection is, an illusion. Interestingly enough, it could also be her refusal to accept that what she's looking at is the truth. An illusion it may be, it's still a glimpse of who she really is inside. And then there's the final moment. Mary, broken, continues to fire an empty gun until Batman comes to confront her and she has no more illusions she can hide behind nor destroy.
Aww.
I didn't mean to.
This is another thing that could have so many meanings. This could be Mary being genuine, that she didn't fully know what she was doing. Or maybe she did, but she can only see her own selfish perspective until now. Or maybe, like when the character Baby says it, it's a straight up lie. Mary knew what she was doing, but she's now ashamed to admit it. The only thing that's truly clear is that Baby is gone, Mary is back, she regrets what she's done, and she really wants forgiveness. Until the freaking sequel episode happens. Like, I see the potential of bringing this
sequel
back,
episode.
and that episode isn't even that bad. But like I said in the beginning, stop messing with perfection.
It's like the time
And that
Batman
was
sat
Baby
with
Doll.
Ace in the
I'm sure it
Batman
comes to no surprise
series.
to you intellectuals to learn that I'm a big fan of this one, maybe even more than Heart of
I
Ice.
think she
Baby's
truly
design and
means she
animation, while they
didn't
don't
mean to hurt anyone, or at least feels sorrow. By the way, the sequel episode sucks.
I don't think I ever saw the sequel episode. I don't think I want to now. I think it's, in my opinion, yeah, it's a good.
It's pretty
good way to
short.
put it. Oh.
It does really suck. Not watch it, goth.
Okay. I think it's like her admitting she like lost control of herself there.
At the show are really enjoyable. And while Heart of Ice has chilling moments throughout the entire thing, Baby's tearjerk moment almost sucker punches you. Not say it comes out of nowhere, but you're not necessarily expecting it given how goofy Baby acts throughout most of the episode. Now, I'd be remiss not to mention the obvious allegory. We see this kind of thing happening all the time to celebrities, where they get famous early in life, and that's the only way they know how to measure their own value. So many times when they fall out of fame, they become mentally unstable, trying to find some way to cope. I don't know if the goal of the episode was to reference any specific celebrity, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out it was at least trying to. Also, Mary playing a child, as well as her being unable to physically age, work as a metaphor for a typical symptom of this scenario. Fame has been known to halt mental aging, because why would you need to mature when you got constant praise and everything is being handed to you? If it's not recognized in time that this is happening, you wind up with someone who never quote-unquote grew up.
Bojack stunted too. He got famous in his 20s, so he's gonna be in his 20s forever. After you get famous, you stop growing because you don't have to.
Now, don't get it twisted. Todd was correct when he called Mary a selfish brat. As tragic as her story may be, a large chunk of it was self-inflicted, and it being sad doesn't change the fact that Mary is still making others suffer just to appease her hunger for fame and value. Obviously, knowing Mary's perspective doesn't justify her actions, but it does help us understand them more, help anyone who's gone through something similar heal, and possibly help prevent more occurrences like this from happening in the future. With a really fun adventure throughout the majority and a heartbreaking moment at the end, Baby Doll lives as one of the greatest episodes of Batman the Animated Series, whether it meant to or not. This has been Shady Do-Rags. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Shady Do-Rags is one of my favorite YouTubers that talks about old cartoons. Go sub to him.
I rather enjoy his static shock analysis videos.
Yes. Now we can watch this one. Badass superhero scenes in movies from 2000 to 2024.
Maximum effort.
These are the top 25 badass superhero movie scenes from each year this century.
You owe me some money.
Come on, Stu, let's not do this.
I know what you are.
You lost your money. You keep this up, you lose something else.
Starting with a legend. It's funny that entry number 25 is actually good enough to crack my top 5, but we're considering a chronological order for this video, so it's the only way forward. This was our first proper introduction to Wolverine as a character.
Whatever you do, don't hit him in the balls. He'll take it personal.
Didn't disappoint at all, did he? Sure, we saw him fighting earlier, but here we see him conversing with a couple of hostile dudes, so it provides more context. Not that it mattered though, because the moment he got those claws out, they knew they were barking up the wrong tree. But that's not even the most badass part. It's when he takes the claws back inside to remind these folks they're at his mercy. Yeah, now that's how you make a lasting impression.
Get out of my bar, freak.
It takes a special kind of self-loathing to take the lives of your own variants across the multiverse, but without that kind of passion, we wouldn't have gotten such an iconic performance from Jet Li in The One.
On the floor right now.
This is a hospital. The floor is full of germs. You want me to be safe?
This is back when even Jason Statham had hair on his head, so you can imagine how old this film actually is. Anyway, the opening prison scene where Gabriel Yulaw gets rid of his inmate variant was classy and badass because bro was pretty much flexing the entire time. I don't think he even cared about getting caught, probably due to the confidence he had in his abilities. I wouldn't blame him for that either. Jet Li sure looked like he could own the world with that kind of attitude.
Hell yeah, Blade. Now, Blade is partly an inspiration for my Saphira character. My vampire character. Vampire Monster Hunter character, yeah. Blade is sort of one of the inspirations for her.
2002 Spider-Man may have been legendary, but Peter Parker is more of a nice kid, so he wouldn't have been able to beat the badassery of the iconic vampire who does take this spot. Nobody will ever convince me that anyone other than Wesley Snipes is Blade.
Was that a hit at that new Blade movie that was supposed to come out?
Best Blade.
Yes.
Just look at how he makes an appearance in this scene. That alone is more badass than all the other vampire sequences that exist. Reinhardt was definitely feeling the pressure, which was why he sent his men after Blade, but we all know that numbers don't mean much when it comes to superhero combat scenes. I love it when Blade takes the last henchman down with a WWE takedown, then gets up like it's nothing. It's almost like a physical comedy, but then he gives us the cherry on the cake when he slashes Reinhardt into two. Like, damn bro, were you hating on Ron Perlman during the shoot or something? That slash definitely felt personal to me.
Damn! Oh! Oh, the Nightcrawler scene from the beginning of X2. This is one of my favorite superhero movie scenes ever.
You'd imagine that your tax dollars would be utilized towards some impressive security, which I'm sure is the case, but if you put those guys up against someone like Nightcrawler, then it doesn't matter how high their salaries are. 2003 had the Hulk and Daredevil as competing superhero movies, but nothing they offered could give us close to what we saw here. Nightcrawler gives us a first-person view of his impressive teleportation skills combined with slick combat moves. The only thing I could think of while watching this was that the White House should have probably hired just one of him for its security. I'm sure that would have been cheaper than the dozens of dudes who got owned by him.
Any more bright ideas? We got a few.
This was a good scene too, yeah. It's amazing his arms didn't get ripped off.
If you had told me back in 2003 that it would be possible to stop a train with spiderwebs, I'd be asking you to check for a concussion. However, this iconic moment from Spider-Man 2 had me taking back my words instantly. The fight between Spidey and Doc Ock may not have entirely gone in the web-slinger's favor, but his objective isn't to win fights, it's to save lives. And that's exactly what he does in this super badass sequence. Yeah, I know Tobey Maguire's expressions have become the face of countless memes, but that's pretty much inevitable for him. The determination that Peter Parker showcases is something that even the toughest heroes would have a hard time conjuring. The way he kept shooting his webs and pushing his boundaries to slow down the train as much as he could further proved that resilience does reap rewards.
Where are you?
Here.
This was the moment that started it all for Batman as a true icon of the big screen. Christopher Nolan is a genius director, and his ability to transform a comic book character into such a serious and badass entity is further testimony to his impressive abilities. The dock scene sure felt like a horror sequence to me because of the way Batman sneakily creeps up on the criminals and makes them wish to have chosen an honest life instead. And yes, it's the first time we hear the iconic "I'm Batman" line, which would go on to get parodied and mentioned in countless media pieces after.
Just say the words. Yeah, come on, man, I got things to do.
Fine.
I'm Batman! Batman, and we obviously know who it is.
Not after we shuffle around.
Who's the real Batman now? Amateur.
Batman Begins may not be as easily remembered as its successors, but make no mistake, this was the formation of DC's most memorable character, and nothing they put out after the Nolan trilogy has even come close to Bruce Wayne's impact.
Excuse you, The Dark Knight is my favorite of the trilogy. I didn't even watch Dark Knight Rises because it was just, no. I didn't like what they did with that. But my favorite is The Dark Knight because they did Two-Face so well.
Nice coat.
Nice coat.
Thanks.
I am Batman.
Every single time I look at this scene, I can only remember how disappointed I was in Homelander back when he refused to stop that crashing plane. How can you call yourself a Superman copy?
We can all agree The Dark Knight was the #1 of the trilogy.
If you can't even pull off what's considered normal to the Man of Steel.
Because Homelander's a selfish prick.
Saving the plane in Superman Returns was one of many highlights in Clark Kent's screen.
Oh, we can all agree Dark Knight was #1 of that trilogy. Yes! I'm glad you agree.
Time. And to me, it's his
It was
aura
the
that
best
edges
one.
this
I
sequence
hate
over
you,
Wolverine surviving
Homelander.
the Phoenix burns in the finale of the 3rd X-Men film.
You would die for them. No. For them. For you. For you.
It's not...
I really hate that they did that in the movies.
I freaking love The Dark Knight.
I hate that they did that in the X-Men movies. They had Wolverine in love with Jean. I really hated that. That's not... I mean, I know the movies are
Same
their own
here,
thing.
my favorite is The Dark Knight.
Yeah. I know the movies are their own thing. They're their own continuity or whatever, but I did not like that.
It's not like he just had the plane to worry about either. He had to dislodge the rocket shuttle from the jet first. Then, of course, we have the iconic stadium landing. But that's not all. Our man had the nerve to give everyone a public service announcement too. Yeah, it sucks that the woman he loved is with someone else now, but that's what Sigma males do. They carry on and never lose sight of their duty.
If not Batman Begins, what do you think about Batman Begins? God.
It's still the safest way to travel. When she kissed me, it was just like she used to kiss me. That taste.
Unleashes his aura. Oh, Batman Begins was pretty good too. I liked how they did it. It's just I love The Dark Knight even more.
Strawberries.
Oh yes, the beginning of means Billy Maguire.
How'd you like that?
Go
Spike?
for it, Spider-Man Toby.
2007 did have the Fantastic Four film with the Silver Surfer, but this is Bully Maguire we're talking about here. No one's ever going to overtake him. The battle between him and Harry Osborn was tragic because it's two friends fighting each
It's a
other over
Mortal Kombat
misunderstandings.
fight
Well,
with
maybe not the
Toby
part
and
where
his
Harry
friend.
literally steals Peter's girl, but then again, Mary Jane was never the loyal type in the Raimi films. Anyway, the reason why I'm placing this entry is because of how ruthless and savage Bully Maguire is to Harry, even though he's the one trying to get revenge for his father.
Protected you in high school, now I'm gonna kick your little ass.
The fight was decent for sure, but it's the line delivery that does it for me.
Look
I mean,
at Goblin
like 90%
Jr.
of Peter's lines are straight
Gonna
up memes
cry.
now.
You're gonna kill me like you killed my father. I'm trying to convince you we're an embarrassment to him. Look at little Goblin Jr.
Plus, Joe didn't even have to use his webs until Harry threw the bomb at him. He was literally throwing hands up until that point.
I was trying to reach a private number. Is it a problem? No, I'm done here. Kill it.
I'm betting the Joker told you to kill me as soon as we loaded the cash.
I killed a bus driver.
What bus driver?
Get woke, Toby.
School's out. Time to go. What happened to the rest of the guys?
Just because this list covers badass moments from superhero movies doesn't mean that we can't include the villains, especially when said villain is the freaking
Epic
Joker
fail.
from 2008's Dark Knight.
Give me one reason why I shouldn't have my boy here pull you.
Michael J. White. I love you. Oh yeah, the Joker was great in that movie too. Yeah, Joker and Two-Face were done pretty good.
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear.
Heath Ledger
He does a great job of showing us what Heath Ledger's character is about, and it sets the tone for the rest of the film.
Your plan. Do I really look like
I look like a guy with a plan.
I'm a dog chasing cars.
I wouldn't know what to do with the one if I actually caught it.
The whole scene is probably one of my favorite intro scenes ever because it perfectly presents the Joker ideology, which is essential based on how he doesn't have any goals. Bro doesn't care about anything. He just wants to watch the world burn, which is demonstrated perfectly with how he just kills his whole crew without even the slightest hesitation. The best way to cap off the intro is the way Joker says, "What doesn't kill you makes you stranger."
I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
That's exactly what a character like that would say, and at the same time, he makes you believe that he's been raised around the same concept.
You know, maybe
I
I
like
can give you an
Heath Ledger, the bomb since the hospital since we've gone.
I'm locked in here with you.
You're locked in here with me!
You remember how badass it was to watch Wolverine walk away from an exploding chopper in X-Men Origins? Yeah, that one didn't make the cut today, which only shows how deadly Rorschach really is as a person.
I love Rorschach.
Did you see the new Joker?
The thing that makes him so dangerous is his situational and environmental awareness, coupled with the fact he has zero qualms about using violence. The iconic prison scene with his iconic line only exists because of Otis mistakenly believing he could pull a fast one on Rorschach. I swear, man, watching this scene made me just want the rest of the movie to focus more on Rorschach than anyone else. Just look at the sequence of events here. Bro got talked to, so he immediately considered his plan of action, and the moment he sensed a threat, he chose violence and not the soft kind. Otis may have been a jerk, but damn, you gotta feel sorry for the man after witnessing what happens to him. Yeah, we really need a spin-off series on this dude. Make it happen.
Yes.
Time to die.
Okay, so
I
this
want the
one's a little
Joker in
emotional because it
Mortal
includes the
Kombat
death
1.
of Big Daddy, but I'd say it helps the entry actually make it to the list. Of course, the scene has Hit Girl pulling off an incredible rescue mission to save Kick-Ass and Big Daddy, but things do go south when she exposes her position to the enemy in a last-ditch effort to save her father. However, this is Nicolas freaking Cage we're talking about, and that man doesn't settle for half measures.
What do you think, Goth, about the Joker in Mortal
Big Daddy makes sure to
Kombat
guide
1?
his daughter one last time so that she...
Yeah, I don't want to... I haven't seen the Kick-Ass movies, but I don't want to because Nicolas Cage's character dies, and that would just piss me off. Sorry. Well, they already had him in MK11, so they're not... They don't really tend to repeat guest characters like that, so...
She can at least save Kick-Ass with her impressive combat skills and stealth. It's an extremely high-stakes situation, so our adrenaline rush remains sustained right through the entire scene.
Oh yeah, they've wrapped
And Injustice 2.
They've wrapped up MK1, so they're not going to be adding anything else, but like patches and, you know, that's it. Like patches, engine updates, that's it.
The fact that Big Daddy was shouting out instructions to Hit Girl while literally burning alive makes it super badass to watch.
They wrapped up MK, so no repeats
It's not like
there
it should
and
be a
done.
big deal for him. After all, the man was playing a burning skeleton during the same time period.
Looking for someone.
Back to hell.
Chodnovsky, kiss my. You're old. You're boring. You're
I have not seen the Green Hornet movie.
not scary. You dress like shit. You can retire.
What, you truly don't think I'm scary?
No.
Okay, you're scary.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that
never
with
seen
contenders
them.
like the first Captain America film, the first Thor movie, and X-Men First Class are decided to go ahead with the Green Hornet from 2011. I know Seth Rogen doesn't exactly scream badass superhero, but like I've mentioned before, we're looking at scenes from superhero movies, so they don't need to involve the heroes in question. Like over here, we've got Christoph Waltz playing Benjamin Chudnovsky, a villain with a confusing name but clear intentions.
Chudnovsky. Chudnovsky?
The way he instantly gains control over James Franco was epic, especially because he was getting mocked not too long ago for being old and out of touch. You can totally see his ego getting hurt when he was called boring, so you can't really fault the man for showing the dealer what a true badass looks like. Also, bro actually turned around to check the piano and stuff. At least he showed some manners before performing his execution. Man, why doesn't Mr. Waltz get more roles like this? Did people forget how he had the whole world drooling over his performance in Inglourious Bastards?
Oh, that's why he looks familiar.
You're sheltering enemies of the state, are you not?
Yes.
You're sheltering them underneath your floorboards, aren't you?
Yes.
Point out to me the areas where they're hiding.
And tell him to suit up. I'm bringing the party to you.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain.
I'm always angry.
The best line.
Hey, this is an OG moment, so there's no way anyone else is going to take the spot for 2012 other than the freaking Avengers getting together during the Battle of New York. Yeah, I'll give an honourable shout out to The Dark Knight Rises, but that's about
Hulk
it because
smash.
Christopher Nolan did get his dues earlier, didn't he? There's a lot that happened in this sequence, like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk giving us One Punch Man vibes and Iron Man getting gobbled up by a Leviathan only to blast his way through it.
You ever hear the tale of Jonah?
I wouldn't consider him a role model.
But the key memory for me and a lot of other Marvel fans is the rotating shot capturing all the OG Avengers together. That's right, these superheroes may have their differences, but at that particular time, they had a common enemy and protecting innocent people was the only priority. It's an iconic sequence that essentially kicks off the famed Battle of New York, and it pretty much broke the internet too.
I think they call that the Avengers Assemble scene.
My
This
favorite
was all
is
the way
Thor.
back in 2012, which was shockingly 13 years ago. Life was so simple back then, wasn't it? But I suppose
It
everyone's
is.
a victim to the power of nostalgia, aren't they?
Bah! Man of Steel was good.
Wope wope.
We could have built a new Krypton.
Even the Wolverine against Japanese swordsman wasn't good enough to top this one, which shows just how deserving it is of its spot. Superman is probably the most overpowered
Definitely good.
superhero the comic book universe has ever seen.
You're scared of me because you can't control me. You don't. And you never will.
So when he takes on General Zod, who seems to be able to one-up him in almost everything they compete in, you know you're in for a treat. The clash between these two titans was the easy highlight from the entire film.
I love the Superman movies.
More than the battle itself, I'd say that the final snap was what made it so impactful. You see, when the bad guys corner you into a position where you need to make tough choices, you can't allow yourself to succumb to an idealistic sense of morality. That's what Kal-El manages to counter as he ends Zod's life right before he lasers through some innocent people. Yeah, there'll always be two sides to every coin, but as far as this one's concerned, I'd say that Superman made the
movie I
right
ever
choice. He
watched.
sacrificed one of his own in order to save some humans, and in the grand scheme of things, it was pretty badass for him to double down on his core values.
If you love these people so much,
You guys won. I didn't do anything. I've been here all day.
Oh yeah.
He take one life to see millions.
Yep. Oh yeah, the Quicksilver scenes are always the best.
I guess Zod was UN neck pecked.
Come on, man.
Listen, there's obviously a strong contender in the elevator scene from Captain America the Winter Soldier, and it was a close call, but I feel like I've made the right choice on this one in the end, okay? I know there are a lot of stereotypes out there, but the TV region believes in equality, which is why I personally believe that men have their fair share of space in
He
the
looked
kitchen
like
as well.
the T-1000.
Just look at Quicksilver's epic display from Days of Future Past. It was this very scene that gave him all
Ha
the fame
ha,
in the
I
world.
just
So I
had to
encourage
because
all
of
men
the
out
Kung
there to
Lao
start
neck
honing the
joke.
chef within them. On a serious note though, this one was one heck of a sequence that caught everyone off guard, and I don't just mean the audience. The three goats of the X-Men universe are right there, and they're all befuddled by what they've just witnessed at the hands of a dork
Ha
born
ha.
out of Magneto's intrusive thoughts.
They told me you control metal. You know, my mom
once knew a guy who could do
Neck
that.
jokes are a canon event.
It's kind of funny that Logan, the most badass person in the room, is the only one who ended up thanking Peter for saving them.
He's kidding.
And he also happens to be the only one who would have survived being shot. That in itself should be a nod
Exactly.
of approval for the Tricky Quickie in terms of being a certified badass.
I do like the one in Days of Future Past better, though.
Zod really has a nice asterisk twist to it.
Oh Lord, come on. Yeah, I like the rescuing everyone from the school, the mansion better. But, you know, they're both cool. I have not I'm gonna say this is another one I haven't seen. I've actually got a lot of superhero movies I need to catch up on. I should actually probably do that. But yeah, Age of Ultron's another one that I haven't seen.
What? He has that great twist to it.
Oh, come on. Mercy, mercy.
I seen it.
Now, you might say that I'm really favouring the Avengers here, but come on. My other options from 2015 were Ant-Man and whatever the heck that revamped Fantastic Four movie was supposed to be. Plus, the
Fair
opening
enough.
sequence of the Avengers taking on Hydra would have probably
Age
made
of
it to my top
Ultron
10
is
anyway.
another
I know I've
great
spoken
one.
a lot about how I prefer practical effects to CGI, but in this case, I'd say it's the visuals that make
I
it more
hate
badass than
Ant-Man.
it's supposed to be.
I didn't see Ant-Man either.
There's some serious choreography on display as the Avengers look totally in sync,
That's not going away anytime soon.
especially in that one shot when all of them
Ant-Man.
come together to beat down those clueless Hydra soldiers. Dudes like Hulk and Thor were straight up chilling since they didn't have any real competition.
Never
Everyone makes
heard
this
of him.
sequence work perfectly. There's also the part where Captain America
Really?
throws his motorcycle, which is definitely a Giga Chad thing to do. You know, it's crazy when you realize that this is actually the one single moment in the MCU when all the original Avengers are on the same page and not divided or split up across the galaxy. They've never had this much cooperative teamwork ever since, mainly because so many new members just showed up to the party and joined straight away.
Like they're lining up. Well, they're excited.
It's what the best
Yo.
I got places to be, a face to fix, and oh, bad guys to kill.
I have seen both of these movies. I have yet to see Deadpool and Wolverine, though.
you can do. You want me to put the hammer down?
Hell yeah.
Deadpool.
Someone's not counting.
Yes, Deadpool.
After the disaster of X-Men Origins Wolverine, you'd imagine that Ryan Reynolds and the word Deadpool would never meet again. But the world works in mysterious ways, as the reunion between these two turned out to be so good that this scene was chosen over Batman versus freaking Superman, or even Captain America versus Iron Man from Civil War. There are more options to give you
Well, I heard Batman versus Superman wasn't that good of a movie.
here, but let's just focus on the main star, Wade Wilson, as he welcomes us to a new franchise and a totally new character.
A hush falls over the crowd as rookie sensation Wade
Wilson
lines up the shop.
Well, he's actually
Lines up the
comic accurate, but compared to what we saw
Did
earlier,
you know
it's definitely
Family
an
Guy
upgrade.
did
The
the
highway
Deadpool
scene is the
meme?
perfect blend of comedy and
I wouldn't
action
doubt
as we
it.
see Deadpool crack some of the most ridiculous jokes you'll ever hear while casually ending people like it's a video game. You can't even see Wade's face, but I'm sure many would be imagining a smile underneath that mask. mask, right? It works so well because just when you think the gore factor's getting a bit too much for you to handle, Deadpool comes in with a line like, "I've never said this, but don't swallow."
Never said
Never said this, but don't swallow.
One of the trilogy.
Audacity to say something as outrageous as that. The humor is so on point
good.
that you almost fail to understand.
Oh but yeah, I love when he's trying to hurt Colossus and he just keeps breaking his bones against him. Everyone, all the dinosaurs fear the T-Rex.
I think DP2 is the best one.
And then he tries to kick him and breaks his foot. And he's like, you ever hear of the one-legged man in the ass-kicking contest?
Just how badass this sequence truly is.
I swear that man is my spirit animal. Deadpool.
Yuck, breaking all news.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Guys, you don't want to do this.
Have not seen Logan. And I have not seen The Wolverine, and I have not seen Logan.
Yep, 2017 gave us some brilliant superhero movies and scenes. We had Wonder Woman in No Man's Land, there was Spider-Man versus the Vulture,
He is my favorite Marvel
even Thor
character.
powering up against Mjolnir. However, when I put the freaking Wolverine going berserk in Logan, there's no way any of them are coming out on top to lay claim to entry number 8. Apart from the fact that it was an absolutely brutal display of skills and rage, we also must consider how it's a long time coming throughout the movie. We kept seeing Logan in a defeated state.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it.
Waiting for him to come out in Marvel
and he's pretty
Rivals.
much in a spot where even regular buff dudes are enough to make him sweat. Not here though, as one shot of the booster serum is enough to give the Wolverine his old powers back, and oh boy, he sure doesn't waste a second of it. Those mercenaries must have really had to change their diapers after hearing a roar like that. There's no way any of these dudes thought, yeah, I'm definitely going to survive a Wolverine in berserker mode. The assault and the kills that followed were typical and vintage Logan material, and my only issue with this scene is that it didn't go on for longer. It's like bro had a child with the word sass and named his kid Badass.
Have not seen that one either. I'll just say I've only seen a few of the Avengers, a couple of the Avengers movies. Most of them I haven't seen yet.
You guys are so screwed now!
You may have missed out on the previous entry, but that ain't gonna happen for 2018. Yeah, this entry and the next one really won't have any competitors, no matter how good their peers' movies may have been, because
Please
even the
do,
word
buddy,
epic
promise
would
me
fall flat in
you'll love
comparison to what
Infinity
these
War.
really are.
I
Infinity
hope
War
I
set
do.
us up for a lot of things, and Thor's mega appearance in Wakanda was
Infinity
certainly
War.
one of them. It was surely a surprise for everyone else in the vicinity, but we all knew the moment Thor raised his hands towards Stormbreaker that some serious stuff was gonna go down. Simply showing up with electric eyes and lightning bolts surrounding you should be badass enough. But no, Thor had to make this one count, because it was going to be his last moment of fame before he became fat. Anyway.
No, I'm good. I mean, it's not necessary.
The strike that truly announced his...
He's not even that fat. Did you know the original... He looks... You know, Fat Thor...
Thor.
He actually looks a lot closer to the traditional Norse version of the god Thor. So, yeah. He still looks like Thor. Now it just looks more traditional.
His arrival remained
It's
a
a
peak moment in
bodysuit.
MCU history, no matter how many times you get tired of seeing it on the TV region. The God of Thunder quite literally turned the tide of the battle with his presence, and nearly took out Thanos all by himself too. And that
He's
is, of
fat
course,
and
if it
he
got for the
don't
head.
run too fast, but he's faster than me.
Plot armor aside though, Thor is easily the MVP here, and no Marvel hero has ever looked as badass as he does here. And yet, I genuinely believe that no one will ever be able to match it in the future either.
It agrees.
It definitely... Yeah, I did not see this one either.
This is what more than 10 to 12 whole years of dominance eventually gives millions of people across the globe. Everyone waited for this one moment, and even more so after the events of Infinity War.
Endgame
It's
all
got
the
as
way, my
satisfying would be
all-time
to call the
favorite.
sun lukewarm. The magnitude that unfolded in front of our eyes was unlike anything the big screen had ever given us before. Yes, there have been crossovers before, and yes, Marvel movies aren't the highest form of conceptual art, but god damn it, this is peak entertainment, and that's what matters at the end of the day. All of our favorite characters
you're
finally
walking
on
and
the
talking
big stage,
and moving
united.
and grooving and hipping and hopping and picking and bopping. Those bots are being bad. You better take a stand. You gonna wake up that thing in your hand. You're looking all around. There is trouble to be found. Make sure when you find it you get to say it loud. Got a code 3. Need backup? Bring me my bright pink floral jacket.
What?
I still remember seeing Endgame during an early premiere.
Ooh. You know, maybe that should be my homework assignment. Watch all of these movies I missed.
By the one line that Steve Rogers instantly established as a classic.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Assemble!
I love the small detail of Thor being the first one to scream to alert the others that Captain America said Avengers Assemble, because he was probably the only one close enough to hear it. I could be reaching with this one, but I'd like to believe that this was the real reason why things played out like they did. Anyway, that one shot was super badass, and the immense battle that followed it was nothing short of a legacy. On a side note, do you think Falcon had specifically asked Doctor Strange
Well,
to open
buddy,
his
my
portal to
friends
Steve
are
Rogers'
needing
left
me,
side?
so I'm gonna head out.
Oh.
That can't be sheer luck.
Oh, alright, Zayden. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for as long as you did. I hope you had a good time.
Bye, man.
Can it?
Is that everyone?
What, you wanted more?
It's fun definitely, but I'll catch you next time.
Alrighty. Really? This movie? Ugh. Alright, well, if you say so. Okay, Zayden. Good night. Oh!
Birds of Prey.
Yeah, this movie wasn't much to write home about, but then again, the competition was Wonder Woman 1984 and the New Mutants. So yeah, I say this was surely an appropriate option to choose from 2020. And if you think about it, the police station fight should receive merit regardless of its peers. Being badass isn't always about showing off your strength.
Oh, please.
After all, there's
Because the Birds of Prey... Why did they call it Birds of Prey? The Birds of Prey are Oracle, Huntress, and Black Canary. What is this? You know?
no
Why
way
did they
Margot
call it
Robbie's going
that?
to be able to take down so many men with her punches. Harley Quinn, on the other hand, is an experienced fighter who actually battles with excellent strategies.
To report a terrible crime.
And what terrible crime is that?
It's the movie after Joker dumps her.
This one.
Despite what her persona may usually depict, she makes sure to utilize her opponent's weaknesses and ends up exploiting some impressive weapons. The colorful smoke and the toyish portrayal of her artillery add further depth to this sequence, especially if you want to believe the theory that Harley is actually taking these cops down with real weapons. And the toy stuff is just something in her head which allows her to go through with her actions.
Run, Piggy, run!
Also, I know this is a ridiculously exaggerated scene, but let me tell you something. To get shot by a metal object or beanbag rounds at close range would still be extremely painful and can cause serious injuries.
Yeah. Yeah! I have seen this.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man, they're me's from other universes. They're here to help.
I was so close to including Superman's not impressed line over here, because Zack Snyder's Justice League does count as a 2021 film, but in the end, I just had to give it to the unquestionable power of nostalgia. Seeing not one, not two, but three freaking Spider-Men swinging their way towards an epic final battle is nothing short of badass, and it hits even harder that they include Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Those reveals were enough to make this movie a memorable one.
I love you guys. Thank you.
But then they decided to give us an epic sequence involving the trio swinging side by side with flawless execution.
It's up close. Peter 2, go right. Peter 3, go left. On me.
I relive this moment even today because there's no way anyone's going to be forgetting the best scene the MCU gave us since Endgame. Yeah, that's right. Nothing comes remotely close to the impact these three Peter Parkers gave us. Like, even the landing was iconic AF. I'm getting goosebumps just by thinking about it, you know? On a side note, though, can you even imagine J. Jonah Jameson's reaction if he saw 3 Spider-Men like this?
Spider-Man's cultists continue to contend that the vile vigilante is a hero.
The poor dude would probably have a panic attack and go to the psychiatrist right after. I mean...
My mom loves J.K. Simmons, and the Spider-Man movies are the reason why she loves him so much. She said he was absolutely perfect for the role, and I agree. And it's like ever since she saw... Yeah, and it's like ever since I we watched the Sam Raimi ones, which she likes ever since we watched those, she's loved J.K. Simmons.
My sister loved him.
Hater.
Spider Menace!
He'd do anything to erase a terrible memory stuck in his head.
Because of Omni-Man.
I guess I'll see you.
Yeah.
I did get to see The Batman with some friends. We watched it on Discord chat. That was very, very good.
I seen this one.
Colin Farrell may have reached a new peak in his career after the success of The Penguin.
You know, when because I saw Colin Farrell's name in the credits, and I was like, who the hell did Colin Farrell play? And one of my friends said he was Penguin, and I was like, sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, he was the Penguin. They just put a lot of makeup on him, and I was like, are you serious? That was Colin Farrell? Like, I was super impressed with him as the Penguin. Did not even know that was him. Like I said, never would have guessed that was him.
But let's not forget that Oswald Cobblepot was the victim to this epic chase scene from 2022's The Batman. The cinematography was definitely noteworthy, but what I like in particular is how they tried to make it as realistic as possible. This actually felt like a real car chase, with both Penguin and Batman messing up and getting into crashes with other cars in traffic. It's chaotic, but it does seem believable. You can feel Batman's frustrations as well as Penguin's fright and panic throughout the entirety of this sequence. In other movies, it's always perfectly choreographed, smooth driving and fancy effects. Here it felt like something you could very well see in real life, so props to the crew and stunt coordinators. Oh yeah, I also like how at moments, the Batmobile's engine sounds like a monster roaring in the distance.
Oh, it does, yeah.
It definitely adds to the idea of the Dark Knight being more of a gothic entity than a guy in a bat costume. The fake out and the slow walk towards Oswald's car definitely counts as badass, and it's as close to Sung Jin-woo level aura farming as you can get in live action films.
Have not seen any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
From a strictly personal opinion, I believe this is actually the best fight in the MCU, which is why it's edged out movies like Across the Spider-Verse. Now, when it comes to hallway fights, there's none better than 2003's Oldboy, but this list focuses on superhero films, so the cake goes to the final installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy. What can I say about this scene that can best describe it in words? I guess it's a mix of brutal savagery and classic strategy.
Did that look cool?
Okay. Which gives us a top-notch moment from a franchise that was really starting to tarnish its legacy beyond redemption. Like, the synchronization amongst all the characters complemented its choreography, making it the easy pick from 2023. The sequence could be used as a reference to explain why James Gunn is such a good director of comic book movies. I mean, if you think about it, this fight scene actually feels like a nicely paneled comic. It flows, it's easy to read what the characters are doing, and it lingers while at the same time keeping the action intense. In many ways, it's a parallel to the hallway fight from Gunn's Suicide Squad, but it's distinct enough to have its own identity. My personal highlight was when Rocket Raccoon was able to climb on top of Groot because he was finally big enough to make that happen. It totally brought back some good memories. Well, how about that? The two saving graces of the MCU end up occupying the final two scenes. Yes, the #1 entry may not have been placed as per actual ranking, but Deadpool never disappoints, and neither does Wolverine. This is exactly why their blockbuster film totally saved Disney and Marvel from their continued embarrassment.
Fox, I'm going to Disneyland.
And this scene right here proves why their fighting stars go just as well with each other as their comedic components too. Well,
I don't think he's gonna make it. But he died a hero.
He died from murder, you dumb.
I think it helps that Logan finally got a chance to vent out his frustrations on an entire army of Deadpool variants. But hey, nobody's complaining as long as we get to see him pull off his iconic mutant rage. The action sequences were effective and hardcore for sure, but what I really found badass was the fact that Wade Wilson was going all out against alternate versions of himself.
That? Bitch, you think that's what I do?
It's kind of like bro was given another chance to kill Deadpool after his failed efforts in the second film. There's also the fact that Deadpool is fighting like 30 versions of himself, most of which have the same costume, and you almost never lose track of which one's our guy. Although, I'll admit, I did get confused a couple of times. I do feel a bit bad for Nicepool because bro got destroyed before he could be part of such a legendary encounter. And before I sign off, let me give you the actual highlight of this moment. Wolverine putting on his iconic mask for the first time on the big screen. Yeah. This was 25 years in the making, and it was worth every single second.
We were waiting for that.
No shit. You did that on purpose.
I did no such thing.
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV region, and here's another video that I know you'll enjoy.
Oh, that was great. Should we watch the villains one next? I think I will end things off with the villain one here. Damn.
The very classy Tom Hiddleston, aka Loki, once said that every villain is a hero in their own mind. The TV region agrees with that logic as long as the villains are badass and on screen only. On that note, here are the top 25 most badass villain scenes in the movies.
That my briefcase?
Is your briefcase? Yeah, it is. Why, you want it back?
About your wallet.
Keanu Reeves' John Wick has his dog, and Tom Cruise's Vincent has his briefcase. The only difference here is that Vincent was able to get his briefcase back from the perpetrators. In this scene from Collateral, which is getting a lot of new love, and rightly so, we see Vincent calmly and coldly taking down a couple of robbers who thought they could get away with bullying a nerdy Jamie Foxx. As lethal and heartless as it may have seemed, at least Vincent had the decency to put the struggling survivor out of his misery. The choreography here was so slick, especially with the element of surprise that no one was expecting to see. Kudos to Michael Mann as well, who seems to be one of the few men in Hollywood who knows what an actual gun sounds like. You know, a lot of people came out of this movie not being able to believe that Tom Cruise could pull off the role of a villain with such ease and class. However, after seeing him for literally decades, I think it's safe to say that the man is capable of doing anything he puts his mind to.
What else you got for me? Huh?
Fuck!
My baby boy!
People don't seem to have gotten tired of the evil Superman genre, with characters like Homelander and Omni-Man being hot property nowadays. However, the one character who doesn't get that much hype is Brandon from Brightburn, who's actually a very scary dude. Once you realize he doesn't even consider his own family as a weakness. I know it's supposed to be dark and horrifying, but can you imagine how unstoppable a villain like this is? There's no leverage you can use against him because the last bit of faith he had in humanity got crushed here when his own mom betrayed him emotionally.
I guess that's another
Taking her
movie
up
I
so
have to
high
see.
and then letting the fall do the rest of the work was freaking diabolical, and I love the overall vibe of the whole scene. You know, there's a lot of familial themes on display, not just in this scene, but also the movie, so it makes you wonder what the creators went through themselves. For context, Brightburn was produced by James Gunn and written by his brother, as well as his cousin.
Brandon, I'm sorry. Oh, Brandon!
Look, I want you to work.
If there's one thing this movie has taught me, it's that I should never trust a man who introduces himself with a rat cannibalism anecdote. There was a lot of unease and speculation about Daniel Craig being the new James Bond during the days of Casino Royale, but when it came to Javier Bardem playing Silva, there was no such skepticism. I mean, this is the same dude who played Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men, so his performance in this introductory scene is no surprise. His acting is what makes Silva such a badass villain, and even though he weirdly flirts with Bond here, even the Giga Chants have given him their stamp of approval. This is because it's all a tactic to unsettle 007, and if you need further proof of him practicing the same thing again, look at when he takes off his fake teeth to spook out Agent M. Calling her mother was a brilliant move too, because even though there's no blood relation confirmed, Silva's statements were enough to make the fans do their own research on the topic.
Chasing spice. Oh, so old-fashioned. Your niece must be killing you.
Oh, yeah.
Just because you're Keanu Reeves doesn't mean you get to mock the devil with such a dismissive aura. Constantine's depiction of the devil is amongst the most badass ones in the history of cinema. Peter Stormare has been in some big movies like Fargo and Armageddon, but the way
I love Peter Stormare. I love him.
He nails this role needs to be studied. From his appearance, to his tone, to his mere presence, everything about him screams the king of hell. In this sequence, we see him having a lot of fun as he arrives to collect John's soul, but in a last-minute turnaround, God decides to take our man to heaven. Normally, this would have been the end of it all, making Constantine's middle finger the most epic scene in all of cinema history. However, the devil managed to counter God himself by making sure Constantine lives. Yeah, none of the moviegoers expected to see that right at the end, and it worked perfectly overall. Man, hearing the devil say, "You will live forever," sure sounded like a death sentence, didn't it? Also, who would have thought that Peter and Keanu would meet again in John Wick 2?
I have not... No, wait, I did see 2.
Are you on the level?
I have not seen John Wick. Did they make a 4th one already? I've only seen John Wick 1 and 2. I have to watch the other one.
You should always control your alcohol for a longer lifespan. But now it seems that people named
Oh, Kingsman. I've been told I should watch those too.
after booze can also be just as dangerous. Agent Whiskey pulls off what seems to be a rescue here, but make no mistake, he's most definitely a villain and had malicious intentions right from the get-go. I'll ignore what he does later in the movie because the choreography on display during this encounter against those rifle shooters is phenomenal. It's badass and visually appealing to watch, which makes the audience favor Whiskey as a likable cowboy. And yes, I'm quite sure a lot of people added a laser whip to their wish list of cool weapons. All of this is pretty cool as it is, but you know something even more staggering? It's the fact that Pedro Pascal was somehow able to fire 18 shots out of just 2 6-shot revolvers. Yeah, I know that's being a bit too technical. And most people probably wouldn't even notice that, but I gotta show you that I pay attention to the finer details, right?
I'll fix their wagons. Cover me, boys!
Wait. Exit, I think he could be working for the other side.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You're having a brain f***.
How famous and replicated hallway scenes have become, it's almost like the AI trend involving Studio Ghibli. Now, I'm sure there are some entries that come to mind whenever I use the term hallway, but would you have guessed the scene from 2015's Fantastic Four to make it here? Look, I'm not trying to hype it up, but Dr. Doom's hallway sequence was straight heat. It had a horror element to it, which isn't something you'd normally associate with a Fantastic Four film. The very first kill he inflicts was pretty damn scary and would have definitely had a lot more gore if it wasn't a PG-13 film. The shot of him casually walking across the hallway and having ammunition fired at him with no concern whatsoever also gave strong vibes. As much as I'd hate to admit it, Doom does look cool during this killing spree.
Goodbye, Susan.
I'm not going to deny that. It's essentially the best minute of the whole movie. Yeah, I'm glad I can watch it on YouTube instead of having to go to the cinema hall.
There is no victor. There is only Doom.
Austin Butler was being promoted as the next big thing for
Oh,
the Elvis movie, and while that
Dune
may not have
Part
worked,
2.
it wasn't the last straw. Seeing him as a savage
I have not seen part 2 of Doom. I've only seen the first part, which was pretty cool.
Fade Rother totally made the audience fall for him, and they were very much justified for it.
And no, I have not seen the old Dune either.
It's a chilling display of brutality, where Fade engages in a gladiatorial combat with multiple opponents, showcasing his ruthless nature and combat skills. There's a certain flair in the attitude he displays, letting everyone know that he's not going to be your average villain. I love that psycho-level laugh he gives out right as he stares at the blade coming closer to his face. It's almost as if he wants to kill, but also wants to
Eternal
die with swag.
Darkness.
It doesn't just make him badass, but also
Not Doom,
super scary.
Dune.
Yeah, Fade might be a bit of an oddball, but he's truly passionate about what he does. Also, here's a little fun fact for you. The slave who wasn't drugged is actually the fight choreographer for both the Dune movies, and his name is Roger Yuan.
You fought well, traitors.
That is your family.
You are so right.
Kylo Ren will never be Darth Vader, but he did have an epic introduction to the troubled Star Wars sequel series. The part where he stops a blaster bolt in the middle of the air showed us how formidable his true power was. It's easily one of the best scenes of the sequel trilogy, and trust me, there aren't a lot of them. Just look at Poe's face when he looks back to see the bolt still suspended in the air. It's quite literally the most vocal WTF without him having to say a single word. Side note, Oscar Isaac put in way too much effort for a role that didn't even do him justice. Anyway, I like that Kylo has his mask on for the scene because it enhances his menacing aura. Also, I know this would have been extremely brutal, but just imagine if they just grabbed Poe and forced him to walk into his own blaster shot. That would have definitely made everyone in the audience lose their marbles. But Disney was never going to show something like this back in 2015. And unfortunately for Kylo Ren, his badassery started and ended with this scene.
Nothing, sir. Put him on board.
Oh shit.
The Illuminati is a term that's used to drive conspiracy theories forward, but here they're made out to be the laughing stock of the entire movie thanks to Wanda activating villain mode in the most badass manner possible. Look, there's a lot that's wrong with the way the characters are presented, most notably Mr. Fantastic's intellect, but I guess John Krasinski already knew Pedro Pascal was going to be the main Reed Richards, so I guess it didn't matter to him. Before I praise Wanda for being so overpowered, I gotta give a shout out to Black Bolt. His first and so far only appearance was without a doubt mind-blowing. Yeah, I just couldn't help myself there. Anyway, it was a shocking and dominant display of superiority which got everyone wondering just how powerful the Scarlet Witch actually is. Forget the other characters, I don't really care much about them, but to do Professor X so dirty with such ease has got to place you on an all-time list of overpowered beings. Also, why the heck did Captains Carter and Marvel just watch Reed get ripped to shreds in front of them? Was he like cheating on Sue with the both of them?
Scarlet Witch is basically like god level. I don't know if we've ever seen her true potential. Yeah, she's awesome, but also scary in how, yeah, she could pretty much bend reality to her will. She's got, like I said, she's got like god level powers. Predator!
I like fighters who show respect to their opponents even if they end up dominating the fight. However, if respect means taking off your mask to reveal your god-ugly face, then I'm better off being violated with extreme disdain. The Predator was a super ferocious fighter, and he made everyone shiver with the way he was able to terrorize a whole group of mercenaries who also happened to be super jacked bodybuilders. Making Arnold Schwarzenegger look small in front of you is no easy feat, and the sheer presence of the beast made the viewers quiver with fear back in the day. Now, We all know that the Predator reveals his face as a mark of respect to Dutch, who did manage to trouble him despite his physical inferiority. However, even Dutch himself didn't really appreciate having to see such an ugly opponent. Dude was much better off with hiding his face because it added some mystery to the character. I also find it interesting that the actor who played the Predator basically had to take off a mask while still wearing another mask. The Saw franchise may be turning into one of those never-ending brands where we keep getting a new movie even when it probably should have ended after its third installment. John Kramer isn't a glamorous villain, but he had everyone fooled in the first movie, even the audience, by being the dead body in the room the whole time. Yeah, it may have been low budget, but the movie was able to popularize a whole new subgenre in horror, along with the likes of Hostel. Now, Kramer may be the main character of the film, but make no mistake, he is most definitely a villain, as he doesn't have the right to put so many lives in danger just for his own philosophy's sake. Having said that, his reveal at the very end of the movie did command respect from everyone watching. We know that even though this dude is evil, he sure knows how to pull off an elaborate trap. That too, while literally being in front of your eyes the whole time.
Game over. T-1000!
In a world where ChatGPT is always on your mind, be more like the T-1000. That dude had unlimited aura despite not even being human. Yeah, his emergence from the time bubble, followed by his rather cold and heartless murder of a police officer, was exactly the kind of intro we needed to see how badass he was. Assuming his secret identity with such coldness right off the bat had strongly set the tone for his relentless pursuit of John Connor. Also, it never struck me before, probably because I already knew about the villain before watching the movie, but a lot of older fans that I've spoken to had told me that they believed Robert Patrick was the good guy when they first saw him. That's when I realized that the T-1000 wasn't shown killing the cop, so people just assumed he would have knocked out the officer. Plus, the T-800 was a villain in the OG flick, so it was easy to trick the audience into believing the opposite of what was actually the case.
Hi, Robert Patrick's booty.
Your spirit? Oh, your buddy!
I could actually choose from a variety of scenes shown in the first half of The Dark Knight Rises, and each of them would be a worthy entrance on this list. However, when you see the villain brutally destroy your favorite hero's physical and mental fortitude at the same time, you can't help but marvel at his achievement. Bane already had everyone thinking he was a worthy replacement for Heath Ledger's Joker. When he beat down Batman the way he did during their first encounter, a lot of folks were wondering if he could even surpass the famed clown. Well, the disappointment relating to that is another story, but here there are no doubts. The Dark Knight was beaten in the darkness with ease, and Bane also had enough time to make a badass speech while he was thrashing Bruce Wayne.
Members of the League of Shadows. And you.
I was born in the darkness.
Bro even broke the mask, which is kind of like the highest form of blasphemy for all Batman fans.
Peace has cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just didn't like what they did with Bane. That's not the Bane I remember. Sorry. Why did they give him such a silly voice?
Long live the king.
Childhood trauma right here.
Normally, you wouldn't expect to see a scene from an animated movie for kids on a list like this, but Jesus Christ, this is one of the most emotionally devastating moments ever shown on the big screen. Mufasa's death hit all of us hard back when we were kids, and it still does today, especially when we see Simba desperately trying to wake up his dad after what happens.
Oh God, don't make me cry again.
Man, my eyes are tearing up, even thinking about it as I'm writing this. My point is that Scar's actions may be condemned to no end, but he did establish himself as a great movie villain, and I'm talking all-time lists here. The plan was his all along, and he enjoys a strong sense of pride when it comes to fruition. It may not be badass in a cool way, but it sure is in a malicious manner. One thing's for sure, it made us all wary of our own siblings at the time.
Oh, don't show this scene.
You gotta get up.
You're a Valkyrie.
You know a villain is worthy of a top 10 moment.
Now, I have seen Thor Ragnarok, and I loved it.
When she's badass in someone else's flashback. When Loki takes a look into Valkyrie's past, you see something straight out of an art gallery. I'm not kidding. The way this sequence was shot made it almost feel as if the director was trying to make a series of paintings come to life. It's so different from the tone of the movie, and everything about it just felt so raw and intense. In the middle of the chaos, there was only one person standing tall, and it was the goddess of death. Hela killing all of those Valkyries only gave us further proof of how powerful she can be, and the mere memory of her was enough to unsettle Tessa Thompson's character. Man, just imagine if Thor, Hela, and Loki were all part of some invincible trio. That would have been like the ultimate team-up. Unfortunately, Odin wasn't exactly the best dad in the universe, now was he?
Uh-oh, what is this? Oh,
I
God.
still find it hard to believe that Steven Spielberg made both Schindler's List and Jurassic Park to be released in the same year. They are so far apart from each other that the only similarity between them is Armon Goeth and the T-Rex sharing a similar amount of bloodlust. Even then, Rexy was just doing it out of hunger. Goeth was a straight demon. The balcony scene where he snipes at the Jews is one of the most casually heart-wrenching moments in cinema history.
Wakey.
Christ.
And it perfectly shows us what kind of villain Goeth is, even though he's some big, brawny dude who's unbeatable in a fist fight. You want to know something even more messed up? When a survivor of the Holocaust, Mila Pfefferberg, was introduced to Ralph Fiennes on the set, she began shaking uncontrollably out of fear. This was because his appearance reminded her of the real Armon Goeth. They may have loved nailing the role, but Fiennes felt absolutely terrible about this one experience.
Now I know what Family Guy was referencing when Peter did that sniper thing.
Kind of exposition, and George just casually said, no. He's all dressed in black, or play some scary music, they'll know this guy's bad. Yeah, this is what true cinema is about. Showing, not telling. Martin Scorsese would definitely be proud. Oh my god, this is the most badass and epic introduction any villain could have had without having to show any anger or physical strength. Hans Landa deserves every ounce of praise he gets as a villain just for this scene alone. It's such a dark and nerve-wracking encounter that even the audience can feel the air growing thick around them from the comfort of the cinema halls. Landa's calm destruction of Perrier's character is stuff that needs to be taught in every film school. My respect for this character literally shot up to 100 the moment this scene ended, which is a pretty big deal. You know, in an interview, Quentin Tarantino said that when Perrier Le Petit pulls out the pipe, he wants to tell Landa, look at me, I'm calm, I've got nothing to hide. But when Landa pulls out his pipe, he wants to say, I understood your game. It's top-tier storytelling and a masterclass in psychological manipulation.
Oh dear.
Back in the 90s, the Oscars still had some meaning for the film industry, and Anthony Hopkins winning Best Actor for a role that only allowed him 16 minutes on screen was no fluke. This man put on such a chilling performance that even during the moments where we don't see his face, his presence is felt a lot more than the actual characters on screen. His escape scene perfectly encapsulates it, as we can sense the aura of his presence simply by looking at how the guards are reacting to him. To be able to meticulously kill these guards and then calmly escape confinement demonstrated Lecter's lethal intelligence and savagery. The camera closing in on his face while he beats down on guard number 2 was a highly impactful decision because it forces us to look into the eyes of a stone-cold killer, no matter how uncomfortable it makes us feel.
And the way he has that cold, like almost emotionless face the whole time while he's doing it just makes it even wow. Oh, this scene.
Call it. Call it, yes. A whole lot. Just call it.
I mentioned Anton Chigurh when I was covering the Silver entry earlier, so you might be thinking that some scenes of him would definitely crack my top 10. Well, the most prominent of those scenes is the coin toss sequence, which lands at number 5. Scientists themselves have said that Chigurh is the most realistic depiction of a psychopath in the movies, so who are we to argue against that notion, hey? This scene pretty much solidifies that claim too. Like, how can you just randomly decide to let a man's life be decided by heads or tails? It's cold, unsettling, and definitely badass from Chigurh's perspective, as he shows literally zero emotion and at the same time
Well done.
showcases Javier Bardem's excellent acting skills. I guess the moral of the story is that you better not make conversations with strangers who have a weird haircut.
You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. You know what date is on this coin? No. 1958.
I spoke about how powerful Wanda can be, and I guess Thanos already knew about it, which is why he wanted to make sure she wouldn't steal his kill. Reversing time just to make sure he could be the one who ends Vision is both a flex as well as a pet peeve. Yeah, I know his primary objective was to get the Mind Stone, but a little dramatization never hurt anyone, right? Regardless of motive, it was such a slick move to pull off what the Mad Titan did here. Everyone in the audience was like, WTF during that moment. After all the build up to the finale and the successful execution of a plan that was in no way easy to complete, Thanos simply undoes it in a matter of seconds and gets what he wants anyway.
I thought you really were, Dent. The way you threw yourself after her.
The Joker always makes his way around these lists one way or another, doesn't he? In an interrogation that birthed an iconic meme, we also see the Joker literally toying with Batman as if he's a pack of cards just waiting to collapse. The best part about this is that Heath Ledger is playing the victim too.
His little bully.
Where are they?
As Batman thrashes him around for information out of desperation to save the love of his life. All of this was pretty cool, but the main gag was to play the Uno reverse. I also found it diabolical from the Joker's side to have Bruce rescue Harvey Dent instead of Rachel, but in the end, it all played into the grand scheme of things.
I'm just ahead of the curve. Where's Dent? I have all these rules, and you think they'll save you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Hans Gruber is one of the best screen villains of all time, and a lot of that has to do with Alan Rickman's brilliant performance. I'm not going to put any particular scene from this entry because it's more to do with Gruber's overall persona. He's so calm and calculated throughout the movie that it never feels as if he's falling behind at any point in time. It makes the audience wonder if John McClane can actually best him, and this is actually what made Die Hard such a memorable film. Right from his entrance to a few moments before the very end, Gruber didn't allow his emotions to get the better of him, and that's why he's here at number 2. Darth Vader makes his second appearance today, and it's a very deserving one as he gives us a hallway scene for the history books. This was badass on a whole other level simply because of the sheer dominance on display. Sure, he wasn't fighting a Luke Skywalker, but he took down quite a few soldiers with maybe 10% effort. I've spoken about this scene countless times before, but I only recently noticed something very cool. If you pay close enough attention, you'll notice that the second door only opened when the last dude got impaled in the hallway. Bro was literally holding that door the entire time while taking down all the other guys. Yeah, number 1 is a no-brainer for this sequence. Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV region, and here's another video that I know you're going to enjoy.
Darth Voldemort, he who must not be Luke's father.
Bruh, you just pissed off a bunch of nerds by saying that. Oh, and I see you put a Bobby, little emoji. Alright, guys. That'll do it for this week's Saturday Chill stream.
Yes, I did put a Bob emoji. The link to my Discord server and my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel, and I have a donation is not required, but you donation you can. I do a raid out.
Yeah. Thanks. So yeah.
Can we raid someone who's playing Alien Isolation?
Sure, go ahead. Give us that raid name.
Sure. Kamex pardon. None is playing.
Hang on. Alright, guys. We'll see y'all in the next stream. Goodbye. Love y'all.